Okay. You can fire it up here. This one's ready to go to B and everybody's here to P. So. B. Okay, well, since we're online, welcome everybody first off in the room for making the trip in the rain and bad weather and a Wednesday night. And there's probably other things that you may wish to be doing, but I'm sure you're happy to be there and we'll move things along as promptly and efficiently as we can so to get to everyone who's here in the room. Those of you that are online, is Andrew and Hannah. Okay, so we have a couple of members who are not present tonight. And I'll just cover this so we can deal with the open meeting law. Yeah, one meeting law. So we have two members who are just one member that's online Zoom, thank you, and two members who are absent. So we'll do a roll call vote for to include Don who is present online Zooming. We do have a quorum, so we're good to go. And the other two members, we appreciate their normal attendance and they're able to rejoin us in the near future in January, which will be our next meeting. Okay, we will open the meeting with the first item on the agenda listed as listed, and that is a new meeting RDI for 49 Lakeshore Drive, removal of one oak tree within the 100-foot buffer zone. Daniel D'Amato is at 49 Lakeshore Drive is the applicant, and if Daniel's here, come right up at the table. And I'm sorry, there is no chair there, but you can drag a chair up there. There's some right behind you, so grab a chair, and if you have someone else you want to sit up there, you're welcome to come up too. There's no restriction on just having her there.
I'll sit right in.
That's fine. You're far enough away, but close enough to
I
support.
can hear everything.
Okay, welcome. So would you like to describe what's going on in your property just briefly for the members? We did receive some information in the portal, so we're not unfamiliar with it.
Right. Well, first, thank you for letting me be here today to state my request. And I'll just open up with, I'm a new resident of Bellingham, just moved in October 1st. So very excited to be part of the community. And so far it's been a wonderful experience working with Hannah and addressing some of my questions about the removal of the red oak tree. So when I moved in, I work from home, and I don't know if you recall the high winds that were happening. And so as I looked out the window, I saw this tree, which concerned me even when we moved in, that the lean was right over my neighbor's house, and got to know my neighbors, and they actually had pointed that out as well. And after some of the high winds, I saw some branches that did fall on their roof. And so watching this tree swaying and then doing my own research on red oaks, they're not as strong as white oaks. And so I did my own further investigation, looking at the slope of my home, and I could see that the soil and the retaining wall, it's just the integrity doesn't look like it's there. So I said, I better think about taking this down, because I don't want my neighbor's house to get crushed, or furthermore, anybody getting hurt. So I called a few tree companies to get some quotes, and worked with a particular one, Sharon Tree Service, who was absolutely amazing in educating me on the process of working with conservation and walking me through that process. So with that, I reached out to Hannah and hired a licensed arborist who came pretty swiftly and did an assessment, a risk assessment, and I don't know if you have that.
We have
email.
that.
Okay,
Yes.
perfect.
As well as some pictures, which were very helpful.
Great.
Between Hannah and.
Excellent. Yeah, so so in their opinion, they definitely see the tree as a concern, with as the high winds and the winter's coming, that it definitely is in a position where it could eventually fall, right? It's just when. And so
let me just back up for a second.
Yep.
The four pictures that we're looking at, I thought there was another picture that showed the walkway going down and another tree on the other side, which I don't know what kind of was, it was red, and I also saw a trunk, but there were stairs going down this. No, there, it is. So, okay, so the tree you're referring to that you want to take out is the one on the left of that staircase going out. The one on the right, is that also on your property or the neighbor's property? I don't know where the property line.
That's my property.
That is your property there. Okay, so how is that tree?
I think it looks fine.
It's stable, it's not,
Yeah,
it doesn't have the health risk that the other tree
I
had.
don't see it moving and the lean is towards the lake more so,
Okay.
more straight up and.
The other one you can see from some of those pictures doesn't really have.
Oh,
So the question I was asking also is, well, the health of the tree, because the assessment for the arborist of the red oak that you want to take out was that it was starting to fail, basically, and not showing some good signs of failure. And I was wondering if they had taken a look at the other one to see if that one seemed okay while they were on
They
site.
did look at the white oak
Is that a white oak to the right?
to that one.
Oh, no, so that one to the.
Oh, the one to the right, they said was fine because they look at the base. I guess
Right.
they were educating me on how it flares out and that's a good sign.
As well as they mentioned that the one that you want to take out had some sort of disease starting and
They-
there were
that's
some
different.
of the close-up shots showed what looked like at the base some
Yeah.
deterioration. So it's not-
Exactly.
it never gets better.
Exactly. And they even did point out the white oak looked
Mhm.
like it was not healthy, but to me, I thought it was just being, kind of stunted because of the lean of the
The other
red
tree.
oak. So I thought maybe when that's relieved, that can continue to grow, but they did show it's kind of growing straight down,
Mhm.
so there's no flare. So maybe down the road, but I'm not worried because it's straight and, and again, the integrity of, that area to have the roots, I'm fine with keeping the white oak for now.
I'm fine.
It's not posing an issue to
Since
me.
they were all in the general area and you had arborists out there, just
Yeah.
to get a sense of if you looked at.
Yeah, they pointed out the white oak.
Yeah,
They
okay.
said that one looked like it was not in good shape.
Okay, good. All right, questions for the members?
So I have a question for us. It says that the crane is gonna be set up in the neighbor's driveway with their permission. Do we also have any written?
I've already gotten permission from them. Yep.
Is that the neighbor to the left that's impacted potentially, as we look at the picture? there?
No, believe it or not.
That's the right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. Everybody helping out. That's
I
good.
know, I have wonderful neighbors. I'm not gonna lie, they're
Good
amazing.
spirit of cooperation. That's good.
Yeah.
Okay, and you have, it already says in the scope of work for Sharon, I believe, that they would remove all of the debris from the site. They would leave at least a 2-foot stump, and all the roots, do no grinding, because we obviously want to retain that
Right.
hillside as you do too.
Yep.
And you can put a planter on top of the stump or whatever you want to, but keep the stump and
I'll
the
leave it,
roots.
Sharon.
Okay, anything else? The usual.
And I'll just add too, just because I respect the ecosystem and obviously I want to make sure that, it's thriving there. So I talked to Hannah and my intentions are, in the spring to go through the process of having that area kind of refined and making sure that I bring more plant life and rooted, plants there.
Stabilize.
Obviously going through the process of, because it's a mess, to be honest with
Being a
you.
hillside, you don't want your backyard to start going down to lake. We don't.
That I know.
Like, and so any kind of stabilization plan you bring to us would be gladly reviewed and
Perfect.
that'd be appreciated. Is this also the site? I'm trying to remember whether there was another one that the previous owner had done something, or was it?
Yep, yeah, so this
okay.
was, we had seen an earlier application this year for the same site. For the deck expansion and the septic in the front, and they did take out the tree that's right behind there.
Yes,
So
something.
that was done without a permit. So
Complete the deck expansion and.
yeah, they did the deck expansion and everything, and that was, the rest of that was fine, but yeah, I think, and we talked about it, and she's planning on doing like a whole essentially redo of that back slope, because there is so much erosion going down there, and it's just really in poor shape.
Yeah.
So going into the spring, that would probably be something she's looking to do.
Just need to win a lottery ticket. No, I'm kidding.
Well, nice tonight. Okay, any other questions from the commission members? Don, you have anything?
No, other than to compliment her on the package of information that you provided. The pictures and the descriptions were exceptionally helpful. So thank you for.
It's great, because that's something that we might have wanted to do. Did Nicole provide any feedback?
No, she didn't.
Okay.
I know she looked at it, but she didn't give any feedback
That's-
for the company.
arborist for.
the company, right? Yeah, but still an arborist opinion, I think, and looking at the pictures, I agree, those look nice deteriorating. I wouldn't argue with that. Yeah, so one of the members of our commission who was not here tonight, Nicole, is a certified arborist, and so it's great to have her expertise recently added to the commission. But she's not here tonight, but that's fine. I think the information speaks for itself. If there are no other questions, I'll accept a motion to close and issue a negative.
So moved.
Terminated for RD. Thank you. So moved on.
Second.
Well, Pam, you're right here. I'll say second, but Pam, thank you. Any other discussion? Okay, we'll do a roll call vote. Don,
Aye.
Pam,
I.
all right,
Hi.
James,
Aye.
Mike, aye. Okay, unanimous vote. Thank you very much. All right, you're good to go.
Thank you.
And we'll just keep Hannah posted on how the work goes and.
I will.
I think it'll be good.
Thank
So-
you.
Do you need to give her anything?
Yeah, I'll fill everything out.
Is there some type of
She'll-
official?
She'll give
Okay.
you,
Yep.
she's gonna,
Yeah, so I'll write up all the paperwork and then they'll sign it electronically and then we'll get it out to you.
Perfect. All right.
Shortly.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
thank you. Have a good night.
Happy
Thank you
holidays.
very much. Happy holidays to you too. Okay, next item on the agenda, couple quick ones here. Continuing meeting for an RDA for the MBTA commuter rail right of way. This is implementing the renewal of the 5-year vegetative management plan, VMP, along MBTA commuter rail right of way in Bellingham to eliminate control and manage vegetation along the right of way. Anna Rita Pascal from Keolis is the applicant, and Matt Donovan from Benesh is the representative. Neither one is here because they've asked for continuation to the evening. January 14th, 19th, 2026. So the new year. So the next meeting that we do have scheduled is for January 14th, and they've asked for continuation to that. We have the applicants not here, and it's a pretty straightforward request because they are doing more than two things you said in the note to us the other day. They're going to.
They're Don and Steve had done some additional work on it from the small group that,
Mhm.
you know, we made last time and had just provided some notes and comments, and I think they were gonna go back out in the field and check out some of that stuff.
So was it more our stuff or theirs, the MBTA's that wanted to, but I got the impression from the note that it was the MBTA that was doing that, double checking
It
stuff.
sounded like they're making edits based off.
Yeah,
the-
basically.
Right, so they're going to go back. Okay, all right, that's fine.
Thanks.
Oh, no, certainly not. Well, don't plan on train tracks, don't go on train tracks unless you're with the MBTA. Okay, yeah, so I just wanted to just make sure that it's clear that they are making progress on it. That's why we are continuing this, even though this has been continued for quite a while. We are making some progress, and it looks like maybe we'll be able to wrap this up in the new year, which would be good for everybody, including the MBTA. Okay, so I will accept the motion to continue the hearing to the evening of January 14th. Thank you, James. You gotta flip coins or something. I hear it at the same time. Okay, so, anyway, all right, so we have motion and second, any other discussion? All right, hearing none, seeing none, Don,
Aye.
Pam,
Hi.
Brian,
Hi.
James,
Aye.
Mike, okay, so thank you. So let's continue to the evening of the 14th of January. Next item, continue hearing for the notice of intent for Blackstone Street. Alteration of a bordering vegetated wetland, BVW, and its associated 100-foot buffer zone for improvements to the undeveloped section of Blackstone Street, including infrastructure, utilities, and site grading. Louis Petrosi Wall Street Development is the applicant. Mr. Petrosi has recently requested a continuation to do some additional review of peer review information and other stuff, and we can take the opportunity to review the information the peer reviewer has responded with as well during this time period, but they've requested.
And the waiver request.
And the
That
waiver.
was- He submitted all that information on Monday.
Right, so we very recently received some new information, which is going to be, or is in the portal, it's in the portal.
I actually, it'll be in the.
It will be in the
net
portal.
I
Very
emailed it, but
soon.
it'll be in the. next
Okay,
portal.
right, I thought you know, I was like, I'm thinking,
Stuff that's in this.
In the current one, yes, yep.
okay, so we'll have updated information in the portal, which the commission can review during their leisure time over the holidays. As a fun thing to do, and or not, whatever. Anyway, so I will accept a motion to continue this hearing for the Blackstone Street development project to the evening of January 14th.
So moved.
Don, thank you for that. Well, second, Ariane, thank you. Okay, any discussion? Hearing none, seeing none, all in favor, aye, Don.
Aye.
Pam,
Hi.
Ariane,
Hi.
James,
Aye.
Mike, aye. Okay, unanimous vote. Thank you. That's continued to the evening of January 14th. Next time on the agenda, new meeting item RDA, a request for determination of applicability for Pulaski Boulevard. A right of way, I assume ROW, unless there's a row or something. Poles 65 and 64. Replacement of 64 and 65 poles within the riverfront and buffer zone. Matthew Todd from Mass Electric Company is the applicant, and Olivia Shaw from BSC Group is the representative. And is this Olivia?
Yes.
Olivia.
Recuse myself from this hearing.
Thank you. James is recusing himself from this hearing because of a potential conflict, so I'll avoid that. But what? Whatever. Anyway, I did so. We have a quorum. Yeah.
Mhm.
We still have a quorum for us, so we can proceed. Go ahead. Okay, thank you. Welcome.
So I'm here to represent Massachusetts Electric Company. They are proposing to replace 2 distribution line poles along Pulaski Boulevard, just to keep the lines running smoothly. The 2 poles are located in the 100-foot buffer zone and the 200-foot riverfront area associated with Arnold's Brook. And one of them is also in the 25-foot no disturb zone. And they are 2 wooden poles that are in the road shoulder. So the pole 64 is in the sidewalk and pole 65 is just on the vegetated shoulder, right beside the roadway. And the project is exempt under the WPA, but not under the Bellingham Wetlands Bylaw. So we're here filing an RDA. And we're seeking a negative determination, as the poles are located within the road shoulder and no work is going to be occurring directly in the wetlands or in the waterways. And the area of disturbance, just to give you some more information on the project, is going to be about 4 square feet of disturbance per pole, so a total of 8 square feet. Best management practices will be used as are typical by Massachusetts Electric Company. So they'll use things like straw wattles, erosion and sediment controls to make sure that any sediment that's kicked up during the pole replacement won't make its way into the wetlands or water bodies, as well as silt sacks in catch basins to make sure that nothing gets into the municipal storm sewer system. And that's all as needed based on site conditions. And those will be installed before any ground disturbance occurs on site. And then for the sequence of the pole replacement activities, they are going to cut the sidewalk adjacent to pole 64 where they need to. Then they're going to excavate and embed the new pole directly adjacent to the existing pole. And they're going to use any sediment that is excavated for that hole to backfill around the existing pole. And then they're going to remove the old pole. They'll use that sediment again to backfill as needed, and any excess sediment will be removed from the site. And
They actually extract the entire old pole, or do they just cut it off the ground level?
I believe so it depends on site conditions. I think they pull the whole thing out.
How far down does that go? Just curious.
6
Where's the-
feet,
6 feet.
usually, yeah,
Yes.
for the direct embed, yeah.
Okay.
And then they're gonna patch the sidewalk up and monitor for revegetation around the one that's in the lawn, just to make sure everything's stable. So, yeah, we are seeking a negative determination and I am happy to take any questions that you have.
One initial question, the one that is not in the sidewalk, that is in, as you just said, the lawn, I think you actually said lawn, is that private property
It is,
or is that,
I believe it's town property.
is it? I mean, if it's right that close to the edge of the road that it's almost in the shoulder or in the shoulder,
Mhm.
then it's probably town property easement or, I mean, right away or whatever, something like that for that, and hence the ROW. But I just was curious when you said the word lawn or something, I was like, I'm trying to place.
Yeah,
it
sorry,
where
lawn is the wrong word. It's, if you have the pictures up in the photo log, it kind of shows where it is relative to the road. So it's right behind the guardrail.
Oh, there we go. Okay, yeah.
yeah.
Okay, that's the one that's not in the sidewalk.
Yes,
Correct.
and then the next page of the photos has the one in the sidewalk.
Right, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Sweet there, thanks.
I'll
Questions?
entertain a motion to make a negative determination.
Well, let's make sure any of the commission members on the request, well, you can make the motion actually, and then we can discuss, so fine.
Okay, I'll make a motion to do a negative determination for the work without making any determination on the wetland delineation.
Okay, we have a motion, a second.
Seconded.
Oh, yeah, dashed in there, done. Okay, thank you. All right, so now for discussion, does any of the commission members have any additional questions for the applicant or just general questions?
The only question I had was all the equipment that'll be used to complete these projects will remain on the road and not in the wetlands, correct?
Correct, yeah, so that is
Yep.
another reason the erosion controls will serve as a barrier to mark off the resources.
Perfect. Thank you.
And then information is gonna be listed in the information we provide back to them.
Sure,
Whatever,
I can make that.
Yeah, I think we usually do something, I think, just to confirm it. Sure, you already stated everything you wanted to do, but I think it's just matter putting it somewhere in writing, so people, if they need to look at it, refer to it, whoever was contractors working on it, or just general public who's interested, that they know that we made the effort, and you did too, to document the erosion control. Okay, no other questions? I'll there's a vote. Don,
Aye.
Pam,
Aye.
Marianne,
Aye.
James. Hey, well, my guy, unanimous vote. Yeah, that was quick and easy for you. You're good to go. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, that wasn't a no, by the way.
Oh, sorry, that was, it was not even as well. We have one abstention due to reclusion.
Personally, I vote no. I hate utility companies. That's not gonna show up well on the record.
Yeah, well, we'll see what Caitlin, our current secretary puts in there. Okay, next item on the agenda is a new hearing for a notice of intent. Lakeshore Drive, Indian Run Road and Bernier Lane, right of ways, and map 74, lot 78, and map 70, lot 32. Updates to existing stormwater management infrastructure and water main improvement within the bank, BLSF. Bank land subject to flooding. Riverfront and buffer zone. And Jesse Riddell from DPW is the applicant, and Jean Christie from Tigan Bond is Tigan Bond? Tigan Bond, thank you. Is the representative. Hi,
Hello.
welcome.
Good evening.
Are you Jean?
I am.
Thank you. You're not you, Jean, you are.
I am Jean.
Good.
Yes.
Oh, okay, so welcome. You want to just give us a quick rundown?
Sure. So I'm glad everything has gone so smoothly already tonight. This one's a little more complicated. So
Okay.
we do have a presentation. My name is Jean Christie. I'm a principal engineer with Ty and Bond. This project has been going on for a while. Is along Lake Hiawatha. You can see in this graphic here. I can go to the next slide. No, go back one. Sorry, yeah. So you can see Lake Hiawatha in the top left. That first road in is Lakeshore Drive. We already heard about Lakeshore Drive tonight. The next one parallel out is Indian Run Road. So the project includes, some utility improvements in the roadway, in both of those areas, as well as down Bernier Lane, kind of the top of the page there, all the way to Scott Hood Boulevard. And go next page. As you stated in the public hearing announcement, lots of different resources on this site or relative to this project. We'll go through in a little more detail what those impacts are to each of them. Go next. So here's where the history comes in. So for a while now, probably a few years, Lakeshore Drive receives quite a bit of water and has some recurring flooding. I think maybe three years ago or so, Don DiMartino, I believe, called us and said, we have a problem in Lakeshore Drive, come out and look at it. So we're out here. Some of the water that I'll get into more detail about this in a minute, but some of the water that flows down through an open channel really inundates the system in Lakeshore Drive, the stormwater management system in Lakeshore Drive. So we've been working with the town for a few years to come up with a solution here. Kind of behind the scenes also, there's an asbestos cement water main in Lakeshore Drive. There is a segment of non-connected water main, like in Indian Run Road, that just dead ends in two places. So the town wants to replace that water main, make that connection better water quality for the neighborhood. So we're also proposing a number of improvements to the stormwater collection system. I'll go through those. And then finally paving of the roadways that would be impacted. So these plans, I did color code them with the resource areas. Most of the water replacement work is outside of any buffer zones to resource areas. So there's a lot of it that you don't need to care about. There are a couple of areas that there is some impacts from our water line into your buffer zone to bordering land subject to flooding, but not into the 100-foot buffer. So we'll go to the next page. And this gets down to where the meat and potatoes are. And if you go one more, Hannah, this is, well, actually one more, I lied. This is where the commission, I think, will be very interested. So today, stormwater from upgraded areas that wants to get to the lake from the Buffy Road area neighborhood flows down through a wetland, which is coming into this plan on your right-hand side here. You can see the blue is that actual stream.
Mhm.
Nope, to the right-hand side. And then, yeah. From there today, that is piped across Indian Run Road to this town-owned drainage channel that we have delineated as an intermittent stream. If you have been out there to see it, you know that it is incredibly steep across from Indian Run Road to Lakeshore Drive. That channel is quite incised. There's been some erosion and potential impacts to private properties, especially on that southern side of the stream, I'll say. Once water gets down to the bottom there is a catch basin. That catch basin does not have capacity to deal with the water that comes down that slope. So over the years, we've been talking about solutions here, most recently deciding that piping that entire system to the lake is the best option. Because of being able to control that amount of water, dissipate some energy inside the manholes and prevent future erosion to that abutter that's closest in the bottom left-hand corner. The other complicating piece of this, and if you go one more, Hannah, today, if you look at the top of that page, today that drainage system outlets the lake on private property. There is no maintenance easement. There is no access for the town to really get there. It's private. So we have been working with Mr. Galante, the property owner, for over a year or so now, just to get, can we do this? Can we replace that outfall? We ultimately decided, because of the water line work that we're doing now, that we can actually extend the drainage system down Bernier Lane and outlet where the town has waterfront property right away. That allows the town to better maintain their outfall, making sure everything is clean, everything's working, and there's no erosion. So that's going to eliminate any work on private property. Unfortunately, we do have to remove that existing outfall on private property and restore that.
Existing outfall is on the left side and.
It's at the top of the page, yeah.
On the top.
Yeah, that's the existing one. So you can see the water makes drainage line makes a hard turn to get out there.
Where is the line that you're proposing putting in going?
It's in that cyan blue, that turquoise blue color.
Okay, so you're going all the way down there.
Yeah, so we're extending the length of it. But again, like I said, that outfall area is owned by the town. So we don't need to work on, private maintenance agreements and easements and things like that. That outfall there, and then the work, that we showed in the previous pages where we have all of our impacts. Hannah, if you want to go back one, we can talk about these a little bit more. The green is your 25-foot no disturb. The orange, if I'm seeing it correctly, is your 50, and then the red is your 100-foot. So a lot of this work is within that 25-foot no disturb. We do have some property limitations in that right of way between the two roads that is owned by the town, but we did want to keep it, within that area. We do understand that the proposed system is taking water that, the bulk of the water out of that channel, the intermittent stream that connects the two roads. There is, of course, surface runoff that would be going into there, but no piped stormwater at this point. We can talk about that definitely more. I'm sure the commission has questions about that. If you go to the next one, some of those impacts, the yellow is that your buffer to bordering land subject to flooding. The pink is your bordering land subject to flooding. So there are more impacts associated here. We are working right up to the bank of the lake, and then grading in a new outfall, so that water can dissipate freely and not cause erosion to that bank. I think I have a couple more slides, just talking a little bit more about the stormwater system. Today you have some catch basins. They're not fully compliant. They're not deep sump hooded catch basins. We will be replacing all of them in Lakeshore Drive in this section with deep hooded catch basins. We're adding a water quality unit in Bernier Lane to further remove any, total suspended solid or any other floatables that may enter the stormwater system, resulting in cleaner water going to the lake. Again, complying with the two stormwater regulations that we have shown there. And the next one I think talks more about our compliance with and what are the actual numerical impacts to our resource areas here. And I don't need to go through all of them. We can talk about them as needed. And I think, yeah, after that, I have random things that we might want to look at later. Pictures, definitely.
I was gonna say, I think the pictures are.
The pictures are helpful. So the pictures are many years of photos, so these are more current. Did I include some from 2021 where there was like, or 2022, that was a big one where it was get out here and figure this out. Where that showed some of that flooding. This was after the fact of the flooding. You know, this wasn't even the worst of it at the time. So, yeah, I think at this point, I'll open up to the commission for what questions you have. I have a lot of information to poke through if you want to see anything up on the screen.
Back two pictures, you just showed a picture that I think was the output, that one there, no, one back. There, right there. Look, you're just playing with me, man. That's okay. The right hand or lower picture there, that is the man-made, for lack of a better word, because it may not be totally man-made, it may have been naturally eroded too, but that was where did someone decide to create that downhill flow there, or did it just naturally occur? Do we have any idea of the history of?
We do, we pulled, Ty and Bond pulled, I didn't include them in any of our filing, we did pull whatever historical things we could find that might show a stream, and there was never a stream there.
Because you refer to it as an intermittent stream, and if we're eliminating partial flow to an intermittent stream, that sounds to me more complicated and more involved and more regulatory than a eroded eroded drainage area that is just naturally developed because that's where the water's flowing and nobody's really been able to kind of find a good solution and dealing with it in that way, as opposed to an actually recognized or recorded intermittent stream, as brief as that stream would be. I mean, it's only how many feet long they
I don't
are?
know off the top of my head. It's not very long. I can find it.
Not very long, short downhill if I remember
I
right.
think it's really only intermittent stream by definition, and like most
Right.
most drainage ditches are intermittent streams just by definition.
Yeah, okay. Well,
So it's not, I understand the concern of removing potential flow to this, but it's not stream habitat, I would say. So like, I think a reduction of water in this, which I think would be minor anyway, because they're still gonna have surface flow.
right, so we're not eliminating completely, we're not filling it in, we're not proposing, well, are they proposing doing some sort of for future flow surface and minor that it is, that it doesn't get any worse with the continued erosion, because get really bad surface storm rain, water, it's hitting that area hard.
Yeah, we did in our modeling, over the years, we've done a number of different scenarios. We've looked at some real future storms, like what might happen in a bigger future storm, just to see where that water is going to end up going. It's almost like this channel becomes a little redundant. It becomes, this is the way that the water is going to flow off of Indian Run Road, and it's kind of protected, I guess, and not going through someone's yard, but going through this kind of a low point where you need to.
Did you model it with pre-existing conditions or assuming your site improves?
We modeled it with the conditions as it is today, with all of the residential development. We didn't look at anything prior to that.
So as James was asking, though, I was thinking, did you model it with the new pipe going in, taking most of that water that's going there out?
Yes.
Okay, do we need in your evaluation of that for future storms that are, I don't say 100-year, but 50-year, a major storm, which is hitting the area, dropping lots of surface water. A lot of it's being channeled down the pipe as it should be because it's being picked up and further uphill and so forth. But do we need to do anything, or is proposed to do anything like putting in a layer of riprap the entire length just to help keep future erosion minimal because it's going to be less water going through, or is it just leave it as it is as part of the proposal?
Yeah, we haven't proposed any work inside that. It's a good thought, though. I
I
kind
was
of like
wondering if it's
it.
because it wasn't considered because it doesn't need to be done and somebody said, oh, no, it's good to go. We've checked it out. We don't need to propose anything, or is it just we should potentially look at doing that as part of an overall project? Just again, so that we're not making the situation down the road worse when we could easily, with the scope of work that's being done, especially right in that area, add something to the scope of work, or DPW could propose something to the scope of the work, not necessarily us. Which would be, okay, I'm just throwing out there, throwing in a layer of 6 inches of whatever riprap rock or something that won't cause any major deterioration, because water will still flow through it, but it would potentially alleviate future surface erosion.
Well, I don't think the water will through it, right? It'll be in the drain.
No, not all.
Not all, but the surface water from that area will go down into that area.
They probably, and correct me if I'm wrong, they probably didn't propose any of that initially, Mike, because they're assuming that it's resource area, so they probably didn't want to present to us
Right, doing stuff
complete
in
rehab of the
So,
resource.
well, that's why I'm questioning if, if it's a defined in some sort of recording, plans or something as state plans or
Both historical.
resource, as a resource area. Is the term.
It does have a head wall
Yeah,
at
so
the
this is
top end.
drainage structure.
Yeah.
So like, I see this as drainage structure and they're proposing improvements to the drainage structure.
It's a really poorly made.
It's a back flooded area, but with no outlet. And they're proposing-
Drainage swell,
Yeah,
really bad drainage swell.
And that's all town owned,
Correct.
that section.
Yeah.
so I have a question about how you're gonna install the water main or
Yeah.
drainage system. Direct drill?
No, so the water main, right now, we're still determining, because it's asbestos cement, if we're going to remove that as part of the construction, or if we're gonna put the new main in parallel, like 5 feet off of the new one. That's what we have proposed right now, because it had the most impacts to everything. If, bids come back where we can replace the existing main and use that same trench, that would be also a goal, and get rid of that material instead of abandoning it in place.
It's gonna cut the bill for asbestos abatement.
Yeah,
Because if you excavate and expose the asbestos, you have to take that out.
Yeah.
Oh, you have to.
right, so that's why we're trying to see if we don't have to do it, if there's portions we can just get away with.
That might answer my one question I had. Can you go back to the colorful map sheets so I can point out something I had? That page. So the main you have that's close to, it's within the 25-foot, but it looks like there's some significant space out of the 25-foot that's still on town-owned property.
Are you looking up to the top of that?
Above, unless I'm seeing the property lines wrong, it looks like there's space in between the 25 and the property.
There is, we can absolutely push that line up, that would,
All right. I was
Yeah, I think-
curious, I was like, there must be a reason why it's not.
no,
Okay.
it's a really good point, we should have done that. But that's a pretty simple fix for us to push it out as far as we can.
Okay, and if geometrically it doesn't work because of how stuff slopes, like that's understandable, I figured I'd ask the question.
I think that would also make it easier to construct and avoid some of the more sensitive channel
Yeah.
itself, so, I love that
You'd
idea.
have more space on both sides to,
Yeah.
even if that's direct cut, like you'd have more space.
I have a question.
Yeah.
And it's probably for everyone. I've literally never heard of an asbestos concrete pipe before.
A lot of gas mains are asbestos line, a lot of old underground
Like
electric is asbestos
Sewer
line.
drain.
Is
Yeah.
it like safe if it's just there not being
It's
touched?
not disturbed,
Yeah.
yeah,
And you don't ever touch it.
Asbestos is
Right.
only dangerous when it becomes
Friable.
friable, and
Uh,
it's.
Which means it's.
No, yeah, not.
And so it
exactly
doesn't
friable.
like leach with erosion of water over time.
You, if it's a solid, you could fully touch it. But the thing is, you start touching it and it's brittle and it becomes a particulate, and you breathe it. That's when it's dangerous.
Hey, you can eat it too.
Yeah.
And it'll kill.
That's
you.
why we usually like.
By the way, just for the record, we are not advising that you, Vice Chair is not advising you to eat asbestos, please.
Yeah.
Have candy canes for Christmas, not asbestos.
Abandoning old utilities underground is very common practice because of that exact reason. You don't wanna touch it, cause it's safe staying there,
Right.
like solid.
Very.
So once you mess with asbestos, you have to deal with it. That's the bottom line, whether it's in a wall or I have an old building that I used to take care of. It had a huge furnace in it that was built in the 1920s probably. It was encased in a block that was probably at least 1.5 feet thick of asbestos that was in a solid form. It was like a big white block of painted over and material, and it was solid, it was in good shape. We were told when we need to remove the furnace, we'd have to remove the block. If we disturb the block, we had to hazardous waste, treat it and everything else. If we left it in place, we could leave it in place indefinitely because the block was in good shape and it wasn't, as James said, friable, which means it's not flaking apart. But once you start touching it, that's what it is. So whether it's in the walls or in the ground or in a furnace or whatever, once you mess with asbestos, you got it, that's regulation, so you gotta deal with it, and it's very expensive. And
It's also in rocks.
it's also.
No, it's in rocks. I never heard of that before.
There's a reason it's everywhere, is because it was really good at its job, but it's awful when you touch it.
Okay,
Like the worst persons.
I think the only other piece of information is we don't have a DEP panel. So, I'll see you next fall.
That's around there. When would they like to start to work? Are they gonna try to do it over the winter?
We're planning to bid it this spring.
Oh, spring.
I think we need bids for your Springtown meeting. Their goal.
Is there any opportunity for treatment?
We do have a water quality unit proposed in Bernier Ave at the end of all of this run. To capture and treat as much water we can. It's pretty big. But instead of having multiple smaller ones, we agreed with Jesse, one big one is acceptable.
And it's just TSS.
Yes. And the catch basins have hooded outlets for the floatables, which they don't today. I don't think they even have subs today, so.
Yeah, I doubt it.
Have you reached out to the Lake Shore, what is it,
Their association.
yeah.
I believe someone has, not me personally. I will check with Jesse on that.
You're not going on any of their.
Nope, the only,
Well, they own the lake, so this would be a discharge into their lake.
They own the lake, but the town of Bellingham, like.
I don't think like I want that.
Which I
But
was
it's
owned by all the
moving
people
the
living around it.
Discharge, it's.
Moving the discharge
Discharge.
and putting in a-
adding treatment.
Increase.
and
Yeah.
a better, probably, I don't know what the outflow looks like now, where there's a lot of riprap there and it's diminished, or whether it gushes out and.
yeah, the outlet, the new outlet is more energy dissipating than the existing one that's shown in the bottom right-hand corner there.
Yeah, it's an improvement.
It's, yeah, that one's, right along the water. This is moved outside of the water limit, the bank.
That one
With
looks like
riprap
water's going in.
I know, it doesn't look.
That doesn't look like water to me.
And is the old one going to be sealed off or?
Yeah, we're still working out what exactly that detail would be. I think we were looking also for, any input that you wanted to provide. Our preference would be to get rid of the whole thing and give Mr. Galante his yard back and say, we don't have anything here. But understanding it is part of the wall, we probably would replace the wall part of it where the data outlet is.
Yeah, we want to.
And it's still, a
How deep is it in Mr. Galante's property?
couple feet. Like it's really shallow.
Did you just like pour some concrete in?
That's an option to use like a flowable fill, cap it on both sides with flowable fill and leave it.
I was gonna say, it's sometimes turtles and stuff love to hide in the outlets. So
Well, they'll check first and pull out any turtles.
that's some habitat.
Power wash it first,
Yeah.
get them all out.
Flush them out. Yeah, okay, that's a springtime project. We'll see you all there then. Boots on. Any other questions? Don, you have any questions?
No, no.
Can you just run through the two plans quick? Oh, I just won't look at them again. So can you go back? So you're connecting to existing main on what street is that?
For the drainage or the water.
The drainage.
So the Indian Run Road is on your right and Lakeshore Drive is on your left. The water is flowing from right to left.
Okay.
So we're collecting in a pipe, conveyed down the slope in a pipe, and then replacing all drainage infrastructure in Lakeshore Drive with better sized infrastructure, because it was all really small.
Okay.
There is a little bit of reduction in impervious pavement too, which is a win.
Plus,
It's tiny, but
the win's a win. Okay. And the next one, Hannah?
and then this one, it flips the view 90 degrees, but it's picking up on that left-hand side where the last one left off.
I think that's why I was getting.
That's the confusing, yeah, it's this, because of the way we set it up with the water line and best to bid kind of thing,
The TSS devices at the far right.
It's on, it's probably 80 feet in from the outlet.
Round circle?
Yep.
Yeah, okay, got it, okay.
Do you have like an overall plan that?
There is one in your plan set, let's see, sheet C100 that gives kind of the overall, it's not pretty colored with the resource areas. I didn't want to include every plan, but if the commission does need something a little more visual, we're happy to get that to you before the next meeting.
Mhm.
That's an easy one.
Is there a proposed O&M plan for that water quality unit?
Yes, in our stormwater management report, we have like a standalone O&M that the town will also sign and acknowledge that has all the catch basins, all the piping, outfalls, inlets, vegetated surfaces, riprap outlets, things like that. As well as the water quality unit. Yeah, that's,
Additional questions?
of course, yeah. Lake Hiawatha is now at the top of the page, so. yeah.
What do you expect to do with, while you're trenching, potential dewatering? Because I assume the water table's pretty shallow here. So what are the alternatives that you're planning for dewatering?
Yeah, so. I think the real estate's tough, gonna be tough for us. I think everything would end up being collected, treated, discharged, hopefully by gravity, down Bernier, just to the same location. Because I don't think we want anything going across any private properties. Where we would have one like a sediment bag, filter bag. We're hoping that, with the construction, doing it in the driest months we can, of course, that we're limiting that. Definitely the Lakeshore Drive water line is probably most suspect, is 5 feet. We did do quite a bit of geoprobes to locate ledge, so we know our ledges, so we're comfortable with that. I think we haven't fully designed dewatering locations. Yes, they would be upland for sure, as
Yeah,
much as
long
possible.
If they're outside of jurisdiction, I really care. I was just curious what. the
It's
plan
tough with all the
was.
properties between us and the water body.
Yeah.
For sure.
And then I guess I have the same question for stockpiling. If you're
That's a really good question. I guess we haven't really considered that terribly.
They'll probably only do about 80 or 100 feet, whatever they can do.
They'll close off a work zone,
Yeah,
do that all, get it cleaned up and kind of shift it down.
so this isn't concrete encased, right? It's,
Correct.
okay, so they'll be able to reuse most of it
Yeah, are they putting it while they work
on the side of the road that they're working.
right now?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think they're gonna close, they're gonna have to close segments as they
Traffic.
work. It's not gonna be a whole road closure, but pieces and parts.
Maybe you can sell the residents the idea that you're creating little mini pools free for them to use between the bagging for the dewatering and the inside of a area that's got fill, which is nice as landscape dirt around to hold it, and they can have a free pool for a couple of days, week, and then it'll go away, and then the next door neighbor will have one.
That's like a dirty rent-a-pool. Is
Yes,
that-
it's kids, with kids, it'll be good to play. You try to
I
sell.
love it. Kids love it.
Mud puddles.
Anyway, okay, so moving right along, any other questions?
So just kind of like an overarching, like if I was gonna give a quick summation, it would be improving drainage. There's going to be more flow into the lake, but it will be like better filtered.
All the water still gets there. Like all the water that's coming down is still gonna get to the lake.
Yes.
It's just in a different location
And not flowing across people's yards.
and not flowing across the
There's not a volume change at all.
It probably gets, I could find that. We're not changing ground covers anywhere. So the volume of water is still gonna be the same. It just may get there a little faster.
Okay.
You know, pipe as opposed to over the ground where it's been
And
eroded.
then flooding in the road and
Yeah,
flooding
flooding
over
the road and
roads.
stuff.
So it'll be much
All that-
cleaner and more controlled for the neighbors as far as what they'll see and feel in that area. They'll certainly probably love it.
They'll
because
see a drier
they'll see
road.
road flooding and
But in terms of like the final outcome on the pond itself. Or like that.
Improvement in water quality.
All the water that's getting there now is gonna still get there
eventually
with this, but it's gonna be cleaner. And
more control.
because now what's in there isn't controlling this. Oh, and then, it's flooding, so
So did you use NOAA 14 plus for the application?
I can look that up real quick. I don't have it off the top of my head.
They do have a basin, so yeah.
We use NOAA. If it was plus, I don't know, but I'll get that info to you before the next meeting. I think we did, but I'll confirm that.
Additional info needed, wanted, questions?
I think just the plan change.
Yeah.
Possible, if it's not,
I think it's possible.
yeah.
Yeah.
Just the reason why and. about it.
Don, you have any other questions?
No, sir.
Okay. All
It's
right,
more a question for us, but would we want to know the exact methods of installation before we approve it?
of installation of,
The drainage and water lines? 'Cause it seems like they're still developing that and that like direct drill might be possible, but other methods might be possible.
Oh, I don't think direct drill is
I
possible
don't
here.
think you were even considering direct drill, correct? So that's
No.
not a possibility.
They need so much more space to just build the entry pit that they don't have out here. It's all gonna be open cut.
We can definitely, I mean, since we're gonna resubmit some drawing sheets with revised drainage layout, we'll definitely give you more information in a response here about the stockpile question, what our methods for construction, the NOAA question,
Dewatering.
dewatering.
Do you have I didn't look at the actual packet. Is there a cross section of the trench?
We have a typical drainage trench in a water trench, probably. I presume so. I don't know what sheet they're on, but they're in there. And there's a lot of details. I mean, because this is primarily water
Yeah.
job at this point.
Okay. Yeah, we have, it's in there.
I know that Jesse and his team just earlier today went through some nuts and bolts on this project and these plans. So any of their changes would be incorporated into that next set too. So we should be good to go from everybody.
Nothing substantial, I assume.
I don't know. He didn't call me crying, so
Oh.
or angry, so it's a good thing.
So what's the commission's thoughts to area stuff? So do we want to see more, I mean, there will be more information provided about some of the things that we just have brought up by Jean, but is there anything specific about the installation of the water or drainage lines that you would want to see before we gave some sort of, well, we're gonna bring it back to next year because we don't have a DEP number so forth, so we at least have another month or so.
I'm
but-
assuming the DPD is gonna pothole to figure out if they're gonna be able to remove that asbestos lined.
They need, I think they'll know, once bids come in, because we're gonna bid the removal of all the asbestos and abatement as an alternate. And if
Okay.
the town can afford and fund it, it would be a go.
So it's not more of a question of space. They know there's space in the road to do this. The question is whether or not the town will pay for the abatement. Okay.
Are they getting funding?
We have some allocated already from last May. I don't remember if it was going to be enough for all the abatement. So I think Jesse is working on finding additional
So
funding,
grant money, yeah.
which we know is.
Gene Water Street.
Just gotta have a winning product. That's what sucks.
All right, additional questions?
I would, just on the potholing, if we have an answer on what they're planning on doing, removal or not, before we close the hearing, that would be good to know and get it on record.
So we have about a month to see a determination on that can be.
Yeah,
made.
I mean, if they're planning on starting construction in March.
No,
Oh,
no,
it's in
they've
March.
gotta wait, yeah, we'll get bids this spring. They
Okay.
wouldn't be constructing until summer, but like late summer.
Okay. So these permits will be part of the bid package then?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Okay. We shall accept a motion to continue if there are no additional questions from the commission members.
What date work?
Well, we have at least a month before the next meeting, the 14th. Is that enough time to have Jean, for you to provide the information that you were just were listing there? Back to the
Well,
commission, so we can review it, we could review it at
It
the
would
next
be
meeting.
a week before.
Seventh.
Right, so it's right.
That's no problem for us.
Assuming DEP gets a year.
That's gonna be a wild card, but
So we
We
can always
understand
put it
that.
off if DP doesn't give the number, and it's not anything that they can do about that, then we would just continue to continue the meeting.
They just tend to be out of office after mid-December.
Yeah.
I'll keep my fingers.
So the information could be reviewed that is provided by the applicants, perhaps to see where we are, maybe generate more questions and, so whether DP numbers prior to now, we can continue or act on the information we have and decide if we have enough to go forward from there. Okay, I'll accept the motion to continue the meeting to the evening of January 14th, for lack of a better date, different date.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, thank you very much. James and Ariane for the record, and no other discussion, I will accept the vote. Don,
I,
Pam,
Aye.
Marianne,
Aye.
James,
I,
Mike, aye. So we have a unanimous vote for the NOI to continue to the evening of January 14th.
Great, thank you very much, appreciate
Thank
it.
you,
Thank you.
thank you, Jane. Have a nice night. Brief break before we go on to the next item, since we're moving on to snow balance. Not even a whole hour has passed.
Oh, crazy.
If anybody wants to switch the legs or whatever, we're gonna take a.
Me too.
Oh,
We can still do it.
Why would you say that, Darren?
now you're big.
And I did reach out to, I also did reach out to the 39 Fox Run Road resident. And I thought it was gonna be a later meeting and I felt bad having him come, so I can explain the situation if he shows up too late, but
Yeah.
he'll be here at some point, but
Okay.
What time did you tell him?
I was like, maybe like 8:39, thinking that would be early. But
Hey, I mean, like 8:30 is happening.
30 is not too bad.
Okay, that's fine.
We'll get all the minutes.
Yeah. You just observing, sir, back there? I think just hanging out observing. You have any questions?
No, I'm supposed to be here.
You are, for which one?
Lozinski, 104 H Street.
Okay, yeah, yep,
Okay,
yeah.
thank you. We'll get to you shortly. We have one more item on the hearings list, but that's gonna be a short one because we're
No
continuing.
problem, so best for last.
Save the best for us, of course. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Yeah, okay, so,
Time to read all
I was gonna say, because we still do have to continue like you have, but we gotta wait until we have.
yeah,
that quorum.
that's the forum. And I wanted to give people, they call it the physical,
5 minute break.
Movement break?
yeah, movement breaks, body breaks, don't want anybody to be getting too antsy when to going on things just. Then we can break. We have time. Hey, Allison. All right, we'll resume our evening meeting for the Conservation Commission for December 10th with the last item on the official agenda for continued hearing. That is a notice of intent for Lakeview Avenue, 65-17. Construction of a single-family home within buffer zone to BVW. Quarry Development LLC is the applicant and rep was Seth LaJoy Associates. The applicant representative has requested a continuation to February 28th. I'm sorry,
No.
January 28th, not that one, January 28th, not to cause heart attacks to anybody. Because they need to put in a new ad and have a butter notification.
So I haven't received a plan yet, but because of some of the Board of Health issues, they are shifting the work to the property next door is what I was told. So we will need to do I talked to the DEP circuit rider about it and she talked to her boss about it too. And I guess it's okay to keep it as the same file number because it's a pretty similar project, just kind of slid over, but we do need to re-notify abutters and re-notify through the local news outlet. So that'll happen on.
Similar but not identical project, since they're moving it over, it's gotta be somewhat
It's just
different. Physically it's
same
close, but.
Same,
Right.
very similar layout,
that
but
property owner signed the NOI.
Yes, yeah, they're all owned by the same property owner, so it's collected.
Okay. Well, makes it cleaner, easier that way. That's good. So I have a request from the applicants to continue to January 28th, and I will accept a motion to do that.
So moved.
Oh, Don, you can second because James said first. So
Oh,
thank
second then.
Don and James, thank you. James and Don, thank you. Any discussion? And saying none, James,
I,
Marion,
Aye.
Pam,
Aye.
Don,
Aye.
Mike, aye. Okay, let's continue to January 28th. Thanks. Okay, under other business, I'm going to let the administrator pick and choose amongst the items that she is prepared to provide us more information about, or we already have a lot of this information in the portal, but just which order you'd like to pick them all.
Sure, yeah, I mean, first, we do have, sorry, what was your name again? I know.
Lozinski, Richard?
Yeah, if he wants to come up
Richard.
for the
Richard.
96-104 Lake Street notice of
Right.
violation.
96 and 104. So you live at 104 Lake Street, sir?
Correct.
Okay. So we talked about this.
Yeah, so,
Was it
so
the
I
last
did get
meeting?
an update from, after we spoke to the original homeowner at 100 and noticed that there was work along both sides of that as well on 96 and 104. I'd reached out to both property owners on either side. 96 got back to me and said that they were working with 100 Lake Street and they're putting together a restoration plan, so they'll keep us updated with all of that, but they, already started working on that. And they've got that going, so I was like, I feel like you don't need to come in if you don't. If you feel comfortable with full restoration of it, sounds good. We had spoke on the phone and it was a slightly different situation, right? Because you weren't really aware that that work was occurring on your property.
Not all in the back.
Yeah, right. So in the front, it was authorized, but the section in the back, he hadn't.
We're right next to the other two.
Yeah, which was the only part that was actually in the jurisdictional area on that portion. The rest of it was fully outside of any wetlands jurisdiction. So not anything you would have needed to get a permit for, but just the stuff that was closer. So I figured it would be good for you to come in and kind of chat about, how you would like to resolve that. And if you-
You said we're supposed to get together with the other ones,
Yeah,
get an engineer,
okay.
see.
Okay, did you get a chance to speak with
Mike, yeah,
with Mike? Okay,
yes.
and have kind of worked out and you're ready to?
Yes,
work
we'll
with
wait
him
till
on
spring.
this? Okay,
Get somebody to check it out, see how can we restore it.
So you're gonna join with the other two property owners and
Right.
have the three of you come back with a plan, which yet have to
Right.
come with somebody that you all are gonna work together with. Okay.
That's the plan.
okay. There was the one other thing I remember you had mentioned is you were potentially, you had some trees on your property that you were thinking about just transplanting back there. Was that something that you
Well,
were?
well, if you're gonna, I got some like pine trees, I mean,
Yeah.
about a 5 foot, I can always put some of it.
I
That's
figured-
okay, I'm not
I
sure.
was like, that would probably be better, honestly, to have native on-site plantings put
Yeah.
back there, but I figured I should,
yeah, as long as
Yeah.
they're done right, because those don't hold unless they're really done well.
Right,
especially if they're
conservation
sugar
commission?
sap.
Yeah, come on.
And you said.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm not sure how long a 5 foot tree will grow. That's up to you to, how you easily transplant a 5 foot, maybe.
Well, I mean, the ones I got is right on the side of my house.
Yeah,
So
so
I can just
pull them out, pull them.
pull out and bury.
My question was, between now and the time the restoration plan comes in and they move forward with something, is there any erosion control items that we have to have done because that was so denuded of any vegetation?
Yeah, so we had kind of looked out there at the site meeting and the mulch that's on there and the.
I know at the top of it, right, but I'm
Yeah.
thinking more from there down.
Yeah, we talked about potentially putting in some erosion controls, but that seemed like that would honestly be less effective and, would create some issues getting the erosion controls in there.
Yeah.
So I was just gonna continue to check back in with them and they were gonna continue to monitor the site, and if it looks like if the mulch seems like it's not really working and there's problems along that back end, because all the stumps are still in place, so we weren't as concerned about along the back edge as long as that mulch berm stayed in place.
Yeah,
And a thick berm of mulch, so.
yeah, the only problem would be if that berm had come out or wasn't installed, then that'd be that surface flow from the yard area that would go
Right.
down the
Right.
reservoir, but with the berm up, anything from the yard is gonna be hold back, or at least, you know, it's the speed at which it's gonna erode, that is gonna be so minuscule for the time before they get any restoration plantings in there. So I think just Hannah keeping an eye
I
on it.
mean, if it was buried dirt from the mulch top, from the top of the berm down towards the pond,
Yeah.
then, and there were no stumps of trees to help hold it at all, I'd be really concerned. But with the stumpage and a limited slope, even though it is fairly steep, from what I understand, you'll see in the
Yeah.
pictures. Is there any pine duff or anything left around the stumps that were on the slope, or was it stripped down to bare dirt? Because if it's down to bare dirt, the stumps won't hold much dirt back. Duff.
Leaf layer, a little bit of duff.
Yeah, because no more new is gonna fall upon it because of all the trees have been removed. So-
It wasn't a ton. I mean, the only thing Hannah and I discussed on site was potentially like a silt fence running the length of that bank, but that's probably more disturbance than it's worth.
Yeah.
That was kind of, if something looks like it's not working, like when I check back in with them and it looks like something's not working on the site, I have
Just
them add that
At
in.
least in a spot or two, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, that's fine, as long as we're aware of it and running on top of it, sounds like we got that in hand. Okay, so that's helpful information, sir. Thank you for providing that. Any questions from the commission members?
We set a deadline.
We didn't have a specific deadline that we set for them since we still hadn't, we'd kind of waited to do a enforcement order until we, got a little bit more information, had a restoration plan kind of going. And then I think we were gonna set a date. I did speak to them about probably try to have it done by, end of January, February, so that we can get going right at the start of the spring season for planting. So I can kind of follow up with that. If
Have
that
you
sounds
gotten an
good.
update as far as, there's an engineering firm
Yes,
involved
yeah.
already?
Yeah, well.
They're still
I don't-
being communicative?
Yes, so they have a environmental professional,
just-
and then they're contacting an engineer and getting a site plan together and everything, so. Yeah, they had been.
Anna, do we know what the total square footage is of the area that was disturbed?
No, I mean, when I had looked on like just arc mapping, it looked like a little less than a quarter acre maybe.
Okay.
But not, at least within jurisdictional areas.
Yeah, that's what I meant, right,
know,
within
It's like
jurisdictional. area.
0.2 or something, but
Okay,
I think within the nearest square meter, Don, is probably, we refer to it as big. Big.
yeah,
To
I
the nearest
know.
square meter, yeah. Okay, that's good. All right, so it's not, no motions need to be made, it looks like, because we're moving forward with no enforcement order at this point in time needs to be pursued since the applicants or the violation, people involved in the violation are all actively, it seems, working with Hannah and keeping her posted on things for moving forward, to get a restoration plan moving forward that could take place in spring. So seeing that is happening, is there anything else the commission members want to ask the representative from 104 Lake Street here, or any other questions in general about this item? Violation.
I'm assuming all the property owners have been pretty receptive to you going on site.
yeah,
Okay, because there's no mechanism right now for you
correct,
to
right,
legally trespass.
right, yeah,
So
no,
is
but
that-
everybody's been communicating, there hasn't been a problem.
Okay.
Okay. All right, well, then we will move along for this, and thank you for your time, sir. I think we're good to go. Thank you for informing us on where you are. And we look forward to hearing from you guys in January about some new plans and moving forward in the spring.
We'll get care of it.
Okay, thank you.
It's unfortunate, but
Yeah, these things do
Thanks,
happen
Adam.
in town. It's good that people are willing to work to fix things up when things happen like this.
we'll get it done.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Good night.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
So we do have. So we do have resident discussion via railroad net trail.
Okay. Mr. Kelly, welcome back.
How was the Thanksgiving?
Oh, filling, how was yours?
Quiet.
Quiet, that's good. Quiet is good. So I know that we had received some information, 2 meetings ago, I believe.
I think it was 2 meetings.
At least, yeah, from a consultant that you had hired?
Yeah.
All right, so we looked at that and they had some recommendations as far as things that they thought could be done, shouldn't be done, would be done, and so forth.
And I think the commission members have looked at that. To be honest, in between now, between then, we did talk about very briefly just that we received it and people have looked at it. Has any new information come in? Any other information that you have for us since that information was provided?
I mean, I think it's just important to state, that's just one example of an issue, of the issue out there, that there was supposed to be an evaluation, right? The evaluation didn't occur because of some procedural oversight or whatever have you. And there's an evaluation that needs to be made then. I mean,
Well, at this point in time, the evaluation is not gonna be the same evaluation as it would have happened years ago. So I'm not sure, you're
Exactly.
saying an evaluation should be done. I'm not sure I agree that with that it would be done at this point in time. Because the project has basically moved forward past the point of evaluating what could be done ahead of time, which I think was the original, when you came to us the first time.
Yeah.
There should have been evaluation done, and I don't think we disagreed with you at that point in time, but it hadn't been done, as you said, for whatever reason, back then. Of what should be done to make the project go forward.
Yeah.
There's been evaluation, and if the developer and you and other people, applicants or butters, whatever, should have been involved. But now, here it is, 3 years later, 4 years later,
I mean, since the approval, since the,
it's at least 2 years, because I don't.
yeah, since the construction, got 2 years. And again, I was here, what, a year and a half ago, just asking for a simple thing to have an impartial arborist evaluate what impacts are occurring on my property. That's all I ever asked for. I really, and I think I've provided substantial evidence that would justify that. I just don't. I mean, if you're saying there's no room to modify the permit to include that, then, I mean, I don't wanna waste each other's time, but.
Yeah, I think what we had kind of spoken about is at the time it was evaluated, like what Mike was saying, they could have requested that from the applicant, but
Yeah.
because it was outside the 50 foot, typically they're only requesting with the nature and scope of the project. So
Yeah.
if the scope had been within the 25 foot, within the 50 foot, they more likely would have paid more attention and had maybe locate trees on a plan or had some tree protection measures in place, but because it was outside of those more sensitive zones, the commission likely didn't require it at that
Yeah.
time because it's further outside of the resource areas, which is
I gotcha.
really the only like jurisdiction they have for protection over those is in relation to the resource areas and how that will impact those two wetlands on either side, the one that's on your property, right, and
Yeah.
then the one that's on the opposite side of the
Yeah.
street.
But the thing is, like, I think you said it in your email, you wouldn't be aware of that unless it was pointed out, but. There's no arborist participating, like, who's the arborist? There was never an arborist participating, so you wouldn't be made aware of it if.
So I more so mean just like the zones.
Yeah.
So when they proposed to do work, they proposed it outside of the 50 foot.
Based on what, though? You're saying it's an approximation?
Right, but we
And
can't.
how is that
we can't
appro-
go
I
on,
don't know.
that's.
I mean, if you look
That's
in
kind of
your
a
order of
condition.
conditions, right, like there's a map from National Heritage, right? That has their own approximation, my property's on it, and their approximation is. Wildly different than what is out there with.
For approximation for what, the resource areas?
Where, yeah, the wetland, yeah.
Within the 50 and so forth, yeah.
So
You,
how is it
yeah,
approximate?
I'm not sure because I don't have that information in the hand and I don't want to misspeak, but
Yeah,
usually when something like that happens, the first thing the commission says is how close to impact, to resource areas is it? And then we look for some sort of delineation.
I
I'm
know,
not,
okay.
I'm not sure whether the delineation was done, not done, done by whom? Was it done by the applicant who's developing the property? He said,
Yeah,
I'm putting in the road here, the resource areas are here. This is the company I hired to delineate it. We wouldn't have accepted the developer's word that this is where the wetlands resources. We never have done that.
I know. well,
So,
that's- well,
so
that's what
something
Hannah
was
said, that's
probably
why-
delineated, whether it was National Heritage or not. National Heritage, I don't think we ever used for
I'm just
delineation.
saying, there's a map on the document
Yeah,
that
so
shows something different, that's all.
so they're mapped. Part of them are on his property. So there is a couple flags that do go onto the property, which I'm assuming they did to just try to, cover their bases and make sure, okay, this is where the line is. But the significant section that, goes onto private property that they don't have access to, you can't just go onto private property to do a full delineation. So it's approximated on the plan set using the contours and aerial photos, I'm assuming, because that's what you usually do for that. But there's no way to get a delineation on private property unless you get owner permission to do that, which oftentimes doesn't happen. So it wasn't 100%.
Yeah.
It might have not been 100%
Yeah, no, I
exact
got
on
you.
the plans, but that's what was permitted at that time.
Yeah,
So you
I get
can't
you.
change.
No, I know, but so if you know, based what you're saying, aerial imaging, right? So like, even if you look at the GIS map, what is approximated by them and what is flagged out there, and there are flags out there and they're numbered flags.
Sure.
And you said that maybe they didn't know where the property line ended, et cetera. I have had conversations with environmental scientists that said, you know, that may be true for like a remote area, but this is 100 feet off a very well-traveled road. That was her point, that,
So that they shouldn't have put any flags on your.
no, but you're saying this is, why is this approximation? By
Because you
GIS?
can't go on someone else's property.
This is GIS approximation, it's not, you know.
Oh. It's like right behind someone's house. I mean, I've done a lot of
So
wetland
why is the
delineations that I would go
approximation?
right behind.
That's
some-
kind of a separate issue. I mean, if you're saying, I mean, if I brought forward a report saying that the resource area is being impacted, does that change anything? Because
Well,
again,
that's directly within our jurisdiction. The
yeah,
tree-
I mean, I
tree
could do
stuff
that, like,
Is, I think we've said it in the past, is more of us, I know it's frustrating to hear, but it's outside of our purview and it's more a civil,
we got you.
like neighbor problem, not a, something we can be punitive towards someone else towards, because it's
Yeah.
outside of our legal obligations and legal
Yeah.
jurisdiction. But if, like you said, if you have evidence of the fact that there is impact to a resource area that is within our jurisdiction, that is being caused by a developer or a neighbor, whoever,
Yeah.
that's something we can act on.
Yeah, I mean, just like recently, I think I told you, like, you know, monster tree, it had to be like a 40-something inch stump, right? It's directly on that back line of clearing, right? The great line of clearing went right up to the trunk of the tree, ripped the roots out. Now that tree is dead, dying, right? Monster. I'm talking like 120 foot tall, falls into my yard, takes out, you know, a couple more pines, like. Because there was no consideration given to the extent of roots, where the drip line was, like no critical root zone fencing, nothing. There was no protections in place. As required by the town bylaws. It's just, you know, like I'm in a hard spot and I can read those if you want, but there's,
Is that in?
I'd
you're
like
saying
to
that's within
clarify.
Resource area?
yeah, 100%. Yeah, multiple. I had another one come down, split another tree in half.
That we're talking about, and I know the portion of the bylaw you're talking about, and it's that you may require them to do that work. It's not
But given on what existed there prior to construction.
wetland regulation bylaw is, you know, part of, you know, the buffer zone regulation is the commission can request from the developer that pre-protection measures be put in place, that trees be located on site, that, you know, different things to protect the
I mean,
existing.
it's 241 feet. I think it says in the order of conditions or the notice of intent, it's 241 feet that happened to abut my property. So that was what would have needed to be evaluated. If
Right,
it's such a small area, then why was?
my
that
point is,
evaluated?
if it hasn't been, and it hadn't been done back then, I'm not sure that we can, after the fact now, do that.
Yeah,
I'm not sure I understand what you're saying, if they kill a 40-foot tree by cutting too close to the roots or something like that, and it's eventually gonna find your property, that's obviously a huge concern of yours, I'd be concerned too. Whether it takes out the trees or comes down on my property and lands in the middle of the yard and doesn't hurt anything, or hits my house.
That evaluation would have had to been conditioned, because it's, as Hannah stated, it's not a must, it's a may
Right.
require.
and who conditions that?
This board.
This commission would have the option to do that, it sounds like they didn't exercise that option.
Yeah.
I'm obviously,
I
because.
mean, it was wooded, like it was wild, so it was kind of hard to see what was really going on out there, I guess.
A lot of times, the reason our commission would elect to require that is if an abutter like yourself were to come in and say, I have concerns about how close this is to my property line,
Yeah.
and then we would reference that section of our regulations that we can implement that evaluation to be done.
Yeah, this was kind of like opportunistic in that, like, this all kind of occurred.
After the developer put the road in.
No,
No?
not even,
No?
between me purchasing the house and like, it occurred like. Between the sale of the house and me
Yeah, like
taking
that
over,
too.
yeah, it was
Yeah.
just like pure opportunity, where I wasn't really.
Timing.
Told that the plan was already basically approved.
Approved. And it may have been at that point in time, yeah. But you're right, timing sounds like it was.
Yeah. I got you, but let me ask you about this, what about the stumps from the trees that he cut beyond the line of clearing? Does he have to grind, what does he do with those, he just leaves them
Stumps that are out of the ground or stumps that are in the ground?
in the ground?
Well, I think
They should be left.
Probably the general sense, including for you, I would think, since erosion and further deterioration of the site in any way environmentally is not something we want to see happen. Leaving them is always something we recommend because it stabilizes the soil and so forth. It doesn't cause any further damage to leave a stumped off
Yeah,
trunk there. Digging it out, pulling it out, it's gonna cause a lot of disruption. Then you have to put something in to restore it or hold the soil that you just disturbed. So how many of those do you think there are roughly?
I mean,
Living on the site there.
so like there was some of it covered by like the civil proceeding, but then there's others that like I didn't own, they were his trees, so like, I'm not gonna go behind.
So, no, I'm not saying grind, I'm just wondering if you know the total number. You're talking about 5 or 10?
I mean, definitely. Probably two.
Oh.
That he would be responsible for, like, I mean, by right with the civil thing, I would be responsible for the other two, but I mean, those are again.
I mean, if they're on any kind of hillside, if they're on a flat ground, I would recommend leaving stumps and roots and so forth. We always do. We just, weren't here for the hearing, but we just had somebody else who was doing something similar, taking a tree out that's in tough shape on some slope. Absolutely, we said, cut it off 2 feet up. Do not grind, leave the stumps, because the erosion control is huge there, where the roots will hold it for decades.
Yeah. So
So
we'll see what happens. It's kind of like the unforeseen consequences, right, have been kind of unraveling. So I'm curious to see what happens with the stormwater once the roads and once the sidewalks are in. But one other thing, so, with the other issue with the permitting, like, if there was some sort of misrepresentation made on those permits, like, would that impact the conservation like end at all?
you have to be a little more specific. That's a real general statement.
Do you mean like if it's not being built as it was permitted? Is that-
I'd say misrepresentation on the permitting, like if there was required participation by an individual, that individual did not participate, or someone should have been made to stand in for that individual, right? And that didn't happen, then how would that impact?
I'm not
I'm
sure that-
trying to talk about this in a roundabout way, but.
I understand, and it sounds like you're talking about legalities, which I will say right off, I wouldn't know.
Yeah, I know.
It may impact, it might not, but
Well,
without specifics, and even then, I would probably say we will defer to town council
Well,
because
for
that's
our-
what we were told to do.
if you're speaking about our permit specifically,
Yeah,
there's an appeals process
yeah,
that has now lapsed,
yeah, exactly, yeah, okay, all right,
if that answers.
fair
your
enough,
question.
yeah.
And I did just want to know, because you had inquired about erosion controls and that, because that was definitely. that's
Yeah, it's
super
gonna
valid
continue to be
concern.
an issue.
I was told by the developer that he went in, he refreshed the erosion controls. I did a site visit. I did not see any refreshed erosion controls, especially along that low spot between.
Yeah,
Two
that's not
wetland
gonna
ones
change though
side.
either, like, based on the plan.
Oh, I just meant updating.
Oh, I
updating
know.
the erosion controls. that
No,
are in there.
I know what you're saying, but I'm saying even after Rob Lucier is calling it construction phase stormwater runoff, that's what he was calling it in the email he sent to me, but like, based on the plan, that's not gonna change because you still have that grade change on the backside of the sidewalk, like, you're gonna continue to have stormwater there. I don't know.
Well, if after the stormwater improvements and Rob was here and the planning board stuff has happened, if you're seeing impacts to your property, you certainly have the right to go to both planning board and or if it's appropriate, the conservation commission and say, I'm having issues with my neighbor, because the developer cannot cause damage to your property, whether it's runoff or other things. It's not acceptable, it's illegal. And
Illegal.
you have recourses through the town, planning board, conservation commission.
It doesn't seem that way though.
But,
because
well,
we've had-
I'm talking about a slightly different situation. I'm talking about where you're actually seeing negative impacts. Where water is flowing down across your property and flooding your backyard, or you're having erosion or washout. I'm very simple,
Yeah,
but
You
they
need to be
can't.
very clear to us what you're arguing about, and this isn't your fault, but you're not like a wetland scientist yourself, so you're struggling to explain it to us and we're struggling to
yeah, because
understand.
like I have a life outside, like this very small part of my life that I really don't even wanna deal with.
I'm
Like,
sure you don't.
I was fine out there with the woods behind my house. It's just, and I'm not even anti-construction. I'm sure you deal with the butters a lot, like, I'm not anti-construction. We're actually excited about the road. Lake Street's a very busy street. I have a 2-year-old daughter, so in that sense, we're happy. It's just like, you're not gonna trash my property to build houses. That's really what it comes down to.
Right.
But,
And future impact going forward, like I said, if you are seeing after some of this moves forward, some more sidewalks go in, road goes, finish get runoff continuing. So you said something about stormwater is still gonna be there, it's not gonna change. If things are in a negative impact to your property, even after the fact, even though, as James said, an appeal process may have stuff, that doesn't stop you from being able to go to the town and again, I start with Rob, because planning board, piece of stormwater might be the best place. And say, I've got an issue, this is the, it only happened since the development happened, and be very specific and see what he says. I don't want to promise things for him because he's not here, but.
Document everything as well as you can. I know you have so far.
Yeah,
It's just with us, there's very little we can do about this specific problem.
yeah,
But like I said before, if there's impacts to those resource areas that we all know are there and you have documented proof of that, that's something we can act on. If you're having documented issues with stormwater runoff on the property, even if it's not within our jurisdiction, that's a planning board issue that they can resolve, especially if they're in the middle of construction, if they don't have final grade, if the asphalt's not on there, that's something they can work on while they're working there, hopefully mitigate those problems. But if everything gets put in and everything's done, all the houses are up, and then there starts being problems, you're still not SOL. Like, you can still go to Rob and the planning board and say,
Yeah.
hey, since this development's gone in.
well, I think, that's what I was asking for your recommendation, because they still have to bring forward a landscape plan. That's the whole caveat to this.
I don't know where a landscape plan would, I don't think they,
I mean,
if it's not as part of the original permitting, they wouldn't have had, or I'm not sure.
No, that's
about
part of
the
it too. That's,
permit for the planning board, I'm not
I
sure.
mean, I would think
that
that
would
would be a
be-
concern of yours if it's in.
Right, I just
jurisdiction.
mean if they already have one in place and that was approved, then that would be approved. If it wasn't approved through the process, they wouldn't be issuing a
Adding it
new
now.
landscape plan.
No, they
We
don't.
had some plantings that were put in place for mitigation plantings, and there was some restoration plantings for a replication area. So that was all of the plantings that we were aware of and.
Yeah,
would
But we
have
don't usually do
jurisdiction.
landscape.
But
That
that's-
landscape plan is probably just the lawn and ornamentals for the development, is what I assume that is for. So that's either been already approved by planning board, or if it hasn't, is probably part of their last step of construction, because that's when the site's stabilized, when they're doing lawn and the little
And-
fake maple trees or
And
whatever.
they're, I guess it wouldn't be planning, but they will need to submit NOIs for the houses that are in wetland
Yeah.
jurisdiction, so that's also.
I mean, I
it's
have
not
it,
really
yeah.
approved for
And,
the
and they
houses
need,
that are in-
they need to close the permit that they currently have open with us, and if there's violations of that permit, they will not get that permit closed out, and I'll have to rectify those.
I mean, I don't wanna waste any more time, but I talked to Rob. I mean, it says this is, prior to issuance of first building permit, it says prior to approval of building permits for any structures within the subdivision, the following shall have been completed. The location of all street trees shall be clearly marked, and the location where the trees be planted. Any existing trees to be kept will be inspected by the Bellingham tree warden. Landscape plan shall be submitted to the planning board prior to construction, shall be reviewed and approved during the regularly scheduled meeting. That's all.
Yep.
That's all.
Does sound like they should-
Yeah, we.
You're right, sounds like they should have had a landscape plan, go to the planning board,
Yeah,
so.
it's a requirement. It's not
If,
like they
the
don't-
question for Rob would be, did they give him the plan and has he approved it yet? If he
No.
hasn't.
Yeah.
Rob's email said that's before they obtain.
Sure, that's right, well, they may be given it ahead of time.
For the structures.
For the
Right.
structures, and that's.
I don't
why-
know where they are, how
I
close
don't know
that is.
How would be any recommendation for this area, right, along the property line that's in a jurisdictional area that would, I mean, maybe restore some of the conservation value lost. That's all.
Well, the other thing is, James, I hope you heard what James was saying, which is before everything gets done, before the houses all go in, so forth like that, it sounds like planning board and storm, because I'm saying stormwater management is their jurisdiction, not ours,
Yeah.
for this particular, not,
It's
it's mixed, it's mixed,
Yeah.
it's not clear cut, there's always, we never deal with stormwater, we do get involved in it, but in this particular case, when you're talking about sidewalks and whether it's curbing or whatever, that might channel water, so forth, and that you've been talking to Rob about this, I think James's point is good, which is you want to stay, yeah, as much as you don't want to just have to deal with this and would love to have it just resolve and go away. Before the houses go in is the time to try to get the planning board, if you are seeing or strongly suspect or have some evidence, as he said, document pictures or something, where you're already seeing some runoff come down, and this is where the sidewalk's gonna be, for example. And Rob knows this, that you say, how are they gonna change this? Because this is now gonna be paved and that's gonna flow even faster into my yard. They might be able at that point in time, the planning board say, wait a minute, developer, you can't finish putting the sidewalk in until you address this issue by the property owner, because you can't negatively affect the property. After the sidewalk's in, it's gonna be much more difficult to have them get a good solution. So
I mean,
it involves, unfortunately, you, because you're the person affected by this, and you fortunately do have a relationship with Rob, and you talk to him, and he knows who you are, and he knows what's going on with these issues, to stay on top of that, because that's the time to do it. If he hasn't gotten all the way along, he can be made to correct things so that they don't negatively impact you, at least the obvious stuff that you can see.
Yeah,
That's the hope.
all right.
All right.
I just,
I'm
again,
sorry,
I just wanted, so when you say jurisdictional area, it's not, it's only the 25-foot buffer, that's like what you could say.
25 is no disturb, 50-foot is a buffer zone, and 100-foot, we have, some say, the further out you go, basically,
100 foot is our jurisdiction.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I'm confused.
100-foot,
There's
but
just,
It's the approved area of work.
right,
Like that pine tree that got crushed, that was within the 50-foot buffer, but you're saying it like there's
if it was in the improved area of work, approved, if it was already approved.
not
as
on,
the
even
limit
though
of
like his order of conditions says, does not allow for, damage to abutting property or private property or something like that. I don't know, it's number 2. I don't remember exactly what it says. So like, it's part of his order, I know, it's part of his order of conditions
I
that,
mean, did we? I think the first time you came here, we talked about there was still a dispute on what the property line was.
we didn't know yet, but now we know, like now.
And that, so you're saying that pine tree is wholly on your property?
Wholly on mine, the other one was straddled the property line, and that was actually, that was more of a result of not knowing who owned what. Like, the original survey was inaccurate, it was inaccurate by like maybe a foot on the side, which is, I know these things get messed up all the time, but in the back, it was off by like 5 feet. Oh, no, it's just the totality of all these things, kind of.
Yeah.
It's kind of frustrating for me, you can't buy a house in Bellingham for $10,000 anymore, like these things cost money, I pay a mortgage, I work hard for what I have, it's like.
And Hannah, you have to talk to the developer again anyway, because they did not refresh erosion controls.
No, I've been following up with them and
I'd ask them to
Got it.
come in for a hearing,
okay,
because
yeah.
I want to ask about the property line issue, and then also why they told us they refresh erosion controls when they didn't. I don't like when people lie.
I'm not, like, I don't even really have a problem with him, he bought the plan, like, but. I mean, based on my research, like, there's a history there where. Certain things weren't followed through in the past, like, I'm not just gonna blindly trust someone with.
and as you heard just now, there's a current issue right now that we have, this is something was asked to be done, he said he did it, and he didn't do it apparently, so. On inspection, so we follow up on that, then believe me, they need to explain themselves, because. Developer in town for years or not, they still have to follow the, and hold to their word, I mean,
Yeah.
it doesn't do.
And from where I'm saying, it seems to be a pattern, that's all, like, even the way the work was conducted, I mean, I've worked around construction my whole life, it was done improperly. Like, you don't send one guy out there with a chainsaw to take down 100-foot trees, 50 feet from a guy's house with a 2-year-old kid in the house, it's
No.
No, you don't.
it's not how you do it, but anyway. Thank you, sorry, bro,
Thank
there was
you.
never any hostility, like, between me and you guys, it was just.
No,
yeah.
no problems.
We understand the frustration.
I understand,
Thank you.
thank
Have a
you.
good night.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay,
And I believe we have,
what are you here for?
39 Folkestone Road.
and then we also have, the well 11 online.
Well,
but,
okay.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
so,
Why don't you come up to the front here? Andrew will be with you shortly, hang in there.
No problem. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, well, maybe grab another chair, don't stand, please. There's plenty of chairs in the room, brother, it's embarrassing to have you standing there with 35 chairs there. Okay, well, could you identify yourselves for the record, please?
Catherine Moran.
Fernando Moran,
And you are at,
39 Folkestone Road.
thank you, appreciate it for the record. Okay, so, you had an inquiry about fallen trees,
Mhm.
okay,
Yeah, so we just got a house like a year and a half ago. We are new into this wetland thing.
Yeah.
So we called a tree company, and the guy just came and he's like, no, you know what, we cannot touch here because this might be a conservation area.
Who was the tree company?
Sharon.
Sharon.
yeah.
Always Sharon, that's so good.
So
Yeah, we appreciate it.
you need to call Bellingham Conservation Department and they probably will come and assess the situation. So Anna, do me the favor to come to the house, and she kind of saw all
Right,
the area. Basically, our concern is that the two two trees already that are being held by one tree that's still alive. We're afraid that because of the winds, the snow, that will fall into the gazebo and some branches will fall into the pool area. And we just got the pool cover that cost us a little bit.
We just bought it.
Yeah, so we just need one branch that falls.
Okay, so yeah, we did hand share pictures. You can see some of the ones on the screen right now here behind us, as well as some photos that were taken. You have one tree that's down of the two red dots on the center block there. And the other one that is leaning, and that's the one that is at risk and is leaning up, hung up sort of in the back behind the gazebo there. And that's the one that you're looking to try to see if you can get taken out before it falls on you. That's correct?
And one that is already fell.
One
it's
already
like,
fell.
like a little bit's on the fence.
Right, but certainly if something's on top of your fence, we expect that you would want to, and you'd be entitled to remove from your fence,
Okay.
continue damage from your fence. And I think,
The
yeah.
abutting property is not conservation.
well, no, this is all within the property, but it's within the 100 foot. So, we understand this is on your property, you have the right to clear your fence by hand, so forth, as Hannah has described, that's certainly, or protect your property is certainly something we back up 100%. Taking the tree down within 100 feet of the of resource area is something we do have some jurisdiction on, but we also understand safety and don't want to see property damaged or somebody be walking by the area and the branch falls and doesn't hit the pool, but it hits the person, you know, that's always not even any better. So, the method that Sharon recommended to go in and remove that tree, did they get, I know it was in the report, I could have read the whole thing, but I just can't remember, because we were talking about the other tree earlier. They're going to do it from handwork, just go over the fence and cut it, or are they gonna crane over, or how are they gonna do that?
So the guy explained it to me. He's like, we have two options. You can remove the gazebo. That I think we don't want to do that. Or outside of the fence, there's an area that he told me I can bring the machine here, the portable machine that I need like 14 feet or something like that, he said. And then I can do it from here. But you need to tell the agent if we can put the machine here, if we have the permission to put the machine here, and then from here we can do it. Like, unfortunately, my guy is not gonna climb this tree and just start cutting it. The machine needs to like.
Okay, that's fine. So
When you say here.
where on this plan that we're looking at,
Yeah.
do you think the
So,
machine would be? Come right up, you can come right on the point, if you know, if you can tell. The two
So,
red dots are the trees that we're talking about, I think.
all right, so he told me, here's the gazebo.
Yeah.
He told me here.
And what's in that area right now? Is it
It's
just
like-
brush,
Yeah, and that's like.
lawn, brush,
Yeah.
whatever you're?
It's
Right,
not-
So it's a dry area.
Previous property owner definitely would, I mean, this development dates back to like way beyond, and the wetland is pretty much just like, I think they kind of went to the edge of the wetland, put the pool in there, but you know, that was pre most of the regulations, so. But I think the previous property owner had done some clearing around the edges, and you know, it's mostly brush right in that corner, so it's not really.
So it's not negative, and you can drive right over to it around those trees to that area he wants to put the machine around the side.
Yeah, so he can come right inside the house, the yard.
Okay,
and
it's inside your
we can
property.
open-
it's
Yeah, we can open
you get
the door and then he can access right there, like to
Okay.
the.
Yeah, I can picture the kind of small machine you propose. So he's gonna reach over to the trees from that area.
Yeah,
from-
so these are like trees that we have outside the fence. Inside our property, well, in our property, but outside the fence, and the machine will come like here.
And then
And he
just
told me
reach
we
over
just
to
set it
take
up
it.
here and then we do that job from
And
there.
was he going to, in the proposal, take away the stuff he's cutting up? Or just leave it on the ground?
You tell us.
Well, he told me basically I depend on them, whatever they can let me do. That's the words he used, like whatever they can let me do, I do it. I give you the quote. I give you the quote for, like, let's say they tell me you can remove the trees. I give you this quote, but if they tell me just cut half of the tree, then it's gonna be less money for you, but.
Sure, yeah. So this is your property and it's outside the wetlands area, well, it's within 100 foot. but it's,
Okay.
where's the 50-foot line to them?
I mean, this was all like very approximated.
Oh, yeah, I can tell that.
On my phone looking, so I'm not 100% sure, but
I'd honestly prefer to keep them there felled, because that,
Well, I was looking at that, that's why I looked at the photos, because there's so much down stuff already there. I don't think, and it's a flat area. I don't think we have a huge issue with leaving it there.
that's habitat.
yeah, so that was kind of my thoughts in looking at it, especially the one that's already down. I said they could, clear within like, a foot of their fence, and I would leave that unless they'd
leave
like to do a different actual permit for it. The one that's
Hanging right
potentially
there.
gonna fall hanging over topping the target potentially. That could, you could take the top off and leave the rest of it. But I didn't know what you guys would.
So the tree that we're looking at in the picture there, that's the one that's leaning. And impacting the two trees below it, you're saying.
Yeah, that's the one, yes.
Are they proposing, did Sharon say we could lop that up and take it away, so the two remaining trees that are in between that one that's hanging?
Oh, yeah, I don't wanna take those.
Right, no, but that's what they're saying in their proposal, they could do that.
They can just. take
Okay,
it. Yeah,
and then they could
yeah.
just drop that wood right down that they've cut off onto the ground below.
They'll probably just cut right in the middle in both sides.
Potentially, I don't wanna say how they're gonna do it, but what I'm getting at is, if they're just going to take that out, you wanna leave the other two trees there. The dark branch, is that part of the same tree? That dark branch is right in the middle of the picture, coming from the top of the screen down?
No, that's a
That's
different one.
different,
That
okay.
one's fine.
That's fine, okay,
Yeah.
I just couldn't tell. All right, so if we are in agreement that leaving the stuff here is fine, and whether it, I don't wanna say if they just cut it and it drops in between the two forks and it gets wedged, and that's not good for the trees. Give the tree company the ability to pull it out of the way, but leaving it in the area, I think is what we're looking to do. Is that consensus? Don, you agree?
Saves them money too.
Agree.
They had you money, and we don't feel in this case that, in some cases, we would ask the trees be, and all brush and stuff to be removed. Some of the projects we just did tonight, there was a need to do that because there was different locations out. But since this is your property, and the trees are really gonna be laying on your ground, not on conservation land per se. Even though it's a jurisdictional area, but it's still your property, and you're okay with that, and it wouldn't cause a negative impact. I think it's flat land, it's not gonna cause any erosion, not gonna roll downhill into somebody else's yard. I don't see a reason that we wouldn't just, let them cut it and drop it, leave it there, saves you money, and
Hell, use
it's
it
done quicker,
use it
easier.
for firewood if you want. yeah.
I mean, you have to live with the stuff laying on the ground there, but that's up to you. That if you're happy with it, you can always go in there and cut it up by hand.
Yeah.
Better for the
No,
environment.
to be honest, that back area, moving into a new house and especially because I work seasonal, she's the one being in the house. I'm lost since April till October, basically. We let that back like grow like crazy.
Okay,
It wasn't like that.
Just to be aware that since it is within 100 feet of a jurisdictional area, we would not want to have you go in there, like clear it out, make it a
Yeah,
yard,
no.
grass and so forth. So if you wanted to remove dead wood that's laying on the ground, I don't think anybody would have an issue with that. That's not something we would regulate.
Oh, okay.
So if you want to take away the tree after seeing it laying on the ground for a year or 6 months or a week, you could do that.
Okay.
We're just saying you don't have to take it away now.
Depends on how they access.
Say, yeah, we typically like to leave
Yeah, don't we?
stuff.
Well, yeah, but it's a recommendation that they don't have to give them the sign.
No, I'm like,
I mean,
It's within buffer zone,
within
so
buffer.
I would just
Right
say.
there in the
it
summer,
was
it's
a
like-
question
It's nice
that-
habitat for critters and so forth, so we don't like critters and we recommend,
More environmentally friendly.
yeah, and
When we are there in the summer, we won't see it on the ground.
Yeah, I was
anyway.
just making sure that just beyond the fence there, you realize that even though that's your
Yeah.
property. In this case, and in many other cases around Bellingham, people aren't aware of it, that's why they're into a wetlands area or a resource area, and they don't have the right to just go in and make it a lawn or something, even though they know where the property line is, and it goes back into the woods a ways, no, they don't actually have the legal right to do that because of the wetlands protection and the bylaws in town. So you're clear on that already, you already know, you don't plan on making it into a yard behind the fence there and clearing all that out and, grubbing, because that would not be a good thing to do. That would be a problem.
Is it not a law to tell you when you're buying a home that your property has like abuts a wetland?
No.
It's not.
Well, if
I'm like,
they,
Buyer beware.
we're-
Buyer beware.
if they know that there's a wetland and don't disclose it, that's where you get into legal trouble. If they don't know, they're not obliged to tell you, but if they know, then they are.
And the question is, are you talking about the former property owner who's selling the property, or are you talking about a broker who's selling it? Yeah.
The former property owner must
Real
have known,
estate
but
agent.
perhaps didn't disclose it with their realtor. who-
If they knew, the previous property owner sometimes doesn't know. They
should know, maybe. I mean, I would want to know where we're with
Most of our issues here are because people do not
People
know.
don't
No, I mean,
Yeah, no,
people that
yeah.
are sharing.
They don't, a lot of people don't even know the regulations.
In the
They think
know.
I can do what I want. I know it's wet back there, but I can do what I want.
People have lived here for a really long time, wetland restrictions have gotten much more strict. I mean, there wasn't really wetland restrictions, and then there were state restrictions, and then
Yeah.
our local bylaw restrictions only went into effect in 2011.
Yeah.
So it's
We
really
love
kind of
nature,
a,
so.
you
Yeah,
know,
no.
Happy to
might-
have
I even
like
told,
that.
told Hannah, I'm the kind of guy that I feel bad when we go to collect Christmas tree.
Oh,
That's kind of.
when you go cut the tree, just ask the people, how many trees do you plan to replace this one? They probably
Are
think
you trying to get an
No,
artificial tree?
that's the one thing that we go back and
Yeah,
forth.
I hear you. I
Yeah,
hear
yeah.
you.
But this one, my concern is just the pool that we feel.
Okay, no.
I don't believe you, those covers are not cheap.
Yeah, protecting your
Yeah.
property and people on the property is also
Yeah.
concerned, because if
Yeah.
it fall in the pool, it could fall in a person. Okay, so I think we've stashed through this, and I think the applicants, or the person, actually, applying,
informational.
information, the residents. Residents who are here on a fact finding mission, have enough information. Anybody else in the commission have anything else they'd like to add?
Everything's being done from outside of jurisdictional area,
Yeah,
other than the overhead
other
work.
than the truck coming in.
Oh, I thought that
would
was
be-
outside.
No, so that was my only concern, was the access for it is disturbing potentially vegetation, but to be honest, the area is very disturbed. Yeah, there's not much vegetation right behind there.
You're planning on doing this like ASAP, right?
Yep.
Yeah. It's gonna be pro- it's gonna be
Within
frozen.
buffer zone, right? Not-
Yes, in buffer zone, yeah, in buffer zone, not wetlands.
Because with these winds, I'm like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That.
We don't want anything to happen with them.
Yeah.
So how do you want to be informed or whatever about, just told them anecdotally by the president?
Yeah, if you guys like, just follow up with a photo of the tree down,
Oh,
that
sure.
would be,
Yeah.
I think that would be good.
Yeah, and I just hope the company believe me that I came here and.
Yeah, I mean, if you
You agree, guys,
want a confirmation email, I can send you that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because probably like,
Sure.
you really talk to them?
Yeah, no, Sharon's good with it. They're not cheap, but they are good. I've used them for land property a few times, and they're a good company. They seem to be coming to us regularly with
That's why I asked, because it's.
Property owners are coming to us regularly.
Yeah,
Yeah, he
I'm
was-
just, they
yeah.
pointed it out, but we wouldn't.
So that was the question. This
Do you
seemed
want
like it was
to-
kind of an emergency situation. That's why I had them come to the informational session, and RDA
sure.
wouldn't be able to do that until
Yeah,
January.
because you have to actually
And
post it and
because of
stuff
the
like that.
potential hazard, so that's
What happened to our tree removal?
That's the thing. I would like to revisit that in 2026 to get an actual policy in place. I think we kind of.
For both emergencies as well as non-emergency. stuff,
Exactly,
so
just to make it a little bit more clear, like
Mhm.
what we should be doing for the situations, because this seems like a situation where we should just, I mean, it's dead, dying,
Yeah, in this case,
already
the parks are still in
down,
place.
so it's not like they're taking it out, but yeah.
Okay.
So that was my question to you, is do they need an RDA, or can we just?
And this, I would rather treat it as emergency since it is imminent with
The
tree hanging over.
only people that would be coming after them would be us, and if we.
Yeah.
The only thing that, like, I'm struggling with is that we just had another tree removal through an RDA.
Right, but that wasn't, the tree wasn't like
Imminent
That was a
danger.
standing tree.
falling, tree
Yeah.
standing,
Yeah,
still
it-
leaves.
Yeah,
Right, but.
This is
but
a previously
it's
felt.
still- It definitely had lean, but, there was a little bit on the base,
Like if
but
a tree fell
definitely
off
was not
And
falling.
it's a jurisdictional area. We wouldn't then make them require, like, do an RDA.
Well, yeah. but
For them
that
to
would be
remove
like
that tree.
emergency.
And there's definitely,
Still
we've had
impact property.
previously emergency
Make it
certifications
less
for these.
emergency, but.
I'm not happy with the idea of having the residents wait a month to have us go through an RDA, which will basically confirm what we're basically saying now, which is it's okay to take the things down when it's in
Yeah.
likely imminent danger, and who knows what's going on. I feel real bad if there's a storm and hitting December 31st and you had that tree come down and go through the pool, the gazebo, or anything else, or to hit a person. I feel real bad, especially since we are in agreement on, it's not like there's contestation or controversy about this. So I'm personally opinion, but I'll do a straw poll. Don, what do you think? Do we need to wait and do an RDA or just go with emergency certification?
I support going to emergency certification.
Okay.
We're not requesting they fill out that form. We're just essentially
We would
giving.
just fill out the form and sign sign it or have Mike sign it.
Yeah, I can do that. I'll
That
put
would
it
be,
online.
yeah, they don't have to, it's not, there's actually, I thought there's not an application for an emergency certification.
No, there's a
Right.
certification form that I, as an applicant, have filled out and then just have had the commission sign and all
Yeah.
that.
I did one the other day
Yeah,
for the
yeah.
beaver thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so everybody seems to be good. Okay, so just for your information, so what we've decided is you don't need to go through an application process or any more hearings or anything like that. Go ahead and deal with Sharon or anybody else you is certified to have them take it down safely for your sake. Just let Hannah know, send her a picture maybe after the fact. If you've done that, we'll make a note in our records for that and have a great Christmas.
Okay, so I'll send you paperwork.
Okay.
She'll send us.
So
Oh,
I
that's
can put
perfect.
like show.
Yeah.
Yeah,
she'll-
that's-
she'll send you that. I knew that she'd already said that, but yeah, she will
Okay.
send you that.
Thank you so
Wonderful.
much.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
I am.
And then the last person has been so patient, Andrew.
Andrew, thank you for hanging in there. You're on. So we've got, Brentham Road, well number 11, request to amend erosion controls / LOW.
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah.
you want to describe what you want to do there?
Sure, yeah, just, thank you all for your time. My name is
Yeah.
Andrew McDonald. I'm with Wright Pierce. I am representing the Bellingham DPW here. Just to give you guys a bit of history, we received the NOI for this project, I believe in June of this year. And then it was put to bid in September, ultimately awarded in October. And the contractor has started with the erosion control installation. So what came up after Hannah completed a site walk some time ago now, a few weeks ago now, and there was just some revisions to the extent of the erosion control. Hannah, it looks like here, it's a little small on my screen. I apologize. Is this the permitting set?
Well, I have a split screen on mine, but it's only showing one, so let me stop and I'll reshare just one screen. Sorry about that.
No, no worries.
They look very similar, so I'm making sure. Should I pull up the amended plan or the approved plan?
Probably the approved plan to start, just so I can detail the differences between the two, if you don't mind.
Yep.
All right, yeah, if you don't mind scrolling into or zooming into the 11.2 and 11.3 wells, they're kind of towards the right-hand corner, I'll say. Yes. So, as Hannah mentioned here, this is the approved plan that was submitted with our NOI in June. I'll draw attention to the silt fence just around the backs of 11.2R and 11.3R. So this was the original submission. What we failed to include is that the existing wells, so well 11.2 and 11.3, yeah, thank you, Hannah. I'll call them more out on the fingertips of these of this area here on the border of the wetlands. So what happened between the approval and bid is the limits of erosion control were extended in that area just to wrap around the existing wells. The reason being those wells are being decommissioned as part of this project. So there will be some excavation in that area. There's a structure above grade currently that's there that is going to be removed as part of this project. So there will be some disturbance. When Hannah and I were on site, we talked with the contractor and they're aware that any stockpiled soils would be brought kind of, I'll call it page south here, back towards the existing well station, thank you, Hannah, away from the edges of the wetland. And as our order condition states, any stockpiled areas would need its own erosion control around it as well, once it is in place. There was some other comments just on depth of the silt fence itself, which are being addressed. But I believe the main talking points of today were the revised limits of the erosion control. Hannah, if you could share the updated plan just to kind of give the commission a sense of that revision, that would be helpful. Or I don't know if you guys allow me to share screen, but I have some things up as well if that's easier.
Do you have more than just the adjusted plans or?
Just
More
some,
info?
some photos that the contractor took, some things like that.
Okay. Sure, yeah, I can.
I want to make sure the work is well done, since the
Sure.
wells are,
Yep,
we're
absolutely.
done with the wells, whatever.
You should be able to share your screen now.
Okay. Get in here. All right. So just to kind of circle back, this was the original approved set. And again, out on these fingertips here, the silt fence was originally not wrapping to the full tip. And just to give you a sense, the existing wells again are kind of in this general area, 11.2 and 11.1 is in this corner. So the fence was extended still within the limits of the wetland, but to account for that additional work, removing those existing wells. And I did kind of talk with the contractor just to make sure, you know, that they would have adequate space with the way things are currently constructed, and they believe they will. So just to share some photos, this is kind of working left to right from the plan view. So, you know, there were some issues of depth that were addressed along the way. This is the existing well 11.1. And again, just to give you a sense, there isn't a structure there. So that's what's going to be removed as part of this project. And then to circle back around, to give you a sense, here is 11.2. And off to the right-hand side here, just off screen, is 11.3. You can see the monitoring wells here. I'll point out there was some existing debris when they came to install these fences that they pulled out of the wetland. So I don't want you to think this was as a result of any of the current work or anything like that. And then just to kind of give you a overview sense of the site, this is looking to the well 11.3. Off screen here is well 11.5, well away from the wetlands. There's going to be some equipment replacement within that well, but not any major disturbances or removal of the above grade structure. And then off screen here, there's a decommissioned or abandoned 11.4, but there's no work proposed out at that well as part of this project.
Well away from the work.
Yeah, well away from the work.
You,
can kind
you
of
already said that twice and didn't even seem to realize it.
Hannah, did
You
you
said
see
you think
those, the silt fence on site?
Yes, so that was when I was told that the erosion controls were in, so I went for a site inspection. I noted that the erosion controls that the contractor was working with that they sent me didn't match our approved plans, and then when I went out, the limit of work was the new erosion control plans had been implemented.
They embedded,
Yes.
as they should be.
They're working to, there was a couple holes, so they're working to address that as well, but I wasn't sure if this was something that, I mean, in the notice of intent application, they definitely said we're trying to decommission those, so definitely was more of just an oversight of not putting that on there, but not in the approved plans, not in the order of conditions.
Right. So Andrew, pardon my snarkiness, you're asking us to approve something that's already been done.
yes.
Okay.
Yep. And of course, if you guys want to see any revisions, that is one option I suggested when we were out there. Hannah, I don't want to speak for you, but it seemed to think you thought it may, I don't want to say cause more damage than it would solve, but
If it was embedded.
Yeah, so there's an area on 11.7 in the plans he has up right now. The two monitoring wells that are there, they embedded the erosion controls behind the monitoring wells rather than right in front of them, which it's a couple feet, and I do think it would just create more disturbance if they were to pull that in.
They should have been in front of it.
Yeah.
Because maybe the two monitoring wells are staying.
Yeah, the monitoring wells are staying.
monitoring wells are staying. Yep.
I forget the name that you called the larger ones that are being decommissioned, but
Original.
Oh yeah. So yeah, just for semantics, the smaller diameter black tubes you're seeing are the monitoring wells, and then the larger, I'll call them rusted pitless adapters. Those are the existing supply wells. So
Can
a
we
new
go-
structure. Sorry, what's that?
Can we go back to Hannah, the plan you showed us that had the grayed out boxes that show the new extent? Not this one, there was one with grayed out.
This one here.
Yeah.
Let me pull up. This is the permitting set just for clarity. So yeah, this shows existing conditions.
Okay, so well, 11.3 is existing in the wetland, or is that just the symbol for 11.3 is big enough that it looks like it's in the wetlands?
Yeah, it's a mix of both. It is right on the edge. It's scaled larger than it actually is. And I guess I'll say too, these flags were picked up with a GPS marking. So, it's a straight line connecting the two. I would say the edge of wetland is more of a rounded shape, just not well reflected based on GPS points.
Yeah. Did you have any concern that they had put those erosion controls physically within the wetland itself?
So, yeah, that's the thing. I think it's basically right on the wetland edge, potentially a little bit internal on that edge right near 53, 54, because it was right behind those monitoring wells. So that was my concern, but I would be honestly more concerned to have those taken out and put right in front. Just because because it's so tight in there, and the wetland line is more the edge of disturbance slash fill in there from the wells being installed. It's definitely very wet in there. The ground is definitely, it's not a great situation to be working in, and like the compaction in that area is not great. So moving it just internal of that, while you might get it just outside of the wetland,
It's like 2 inches.
it's like
Yeah.
maybe a
Oh,
foot, and
It's already,
it's
it's already embedded, yeah.
Exactly, and with winter, spring,
Right.
it seems like that would just be worse.
What's the, Andrew, what's the difference in impact? Roughly, I'm sure
What?
it's minor, but what's the
Yeah.
difference in square footage between what was approved versus what this alternate plan is?
Ooh, I could get you a better answer on that, but I would say maybe in the realm of 10 square feet.
Total for all of them?
Yeah, maybe 10 to 15. Again, it's a guesstimate, but just to kind of give you the side by side to show you. Excuse me, I'm on the wrong set there.
Are they not removing those water mains from the old mains?
The water mains are being removed.
Okay, that's
Yep.
less more than 10 square feet now.
I think you're talking about.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you meant.
Line and the other cell fence.
No.
I thought
The
you
difference in physical disturbance from the construction, not the silt fence, because what is approved here, although the narrative itself said they are decommissioning those wells.
Mhm.
There's nothing on the approved plan showing actual disturbance of those wells.
But
So
are those
curious,
disturbances in,
oh, like the form? Well, that's why I'm curious if there is a difference in what was represented and approved versus what is being represented now.
No, I'm sorry. In terms of actual constructability, no like locations of new wells or no removals were added between the permitting and the bid set. It was purely just the limits of the erosion control.
No, understand that, Andrew. I think the confusion is that since it was missed on the plan when we permitted this
Mhm.
of the existing wells being removed on this plan, I know it was in the narrative.
Yep.
Curious if the numbers, because I'm assuming the numbers were calculated based off the plan and not necessarily a narrative, if those numbers are accurate.
Yes.
We have
To my
calculated numbers.
Yeah, the only
Square footage of
calculations.
disturbance?
Buffer zone.
Yeah,
I'm
I
not
mean,
sure.
because this is a town project.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were asked to provide water calculations in terms of lost flood storage,
Yeah.
but nothing in terms of area of disturbance.
Okay. So
Sorry,
really
I
the only
apologize. I was
change is-
confused by the question there.
Yeah, sorry, it was kind of a long-winded thing, and I think we solved it. So really the only difference is silt fence.
Correct. Yes.
We have the wetland a little further out. Okay.
So it's kind of semantics, but not what was in the approved plan, so.
When is this work gonna be done?
The erosion control is obviously installed, but the first step of this will be drilling of the new wells. The contractor's trying to line up the well driller a specific date, but it's not anticipated until the turn of the new year.
Who's the GC for this?
Barbado Construction, they've done some previous work in town at well 12 was the most recent project.
Okay.
Off Cliff Road.
Any other questions?
Like a cemetery.
Do we think we should formalize this?
So that's the thing, I wasn't, this is another situation where it's like either allowable as, you know,
Minor field
change, or does this require an amendment?
I don't think it requires an amended order.
Okay.
I think we should formalize this though, like in writing.
Even a minor change can be formalized in writing.
Yeah, no,
Just
that's
feel
what,
like reflected in the after the fact, like the certificate of compliance or.
well, they'll have to submit as well.
Right.
To notify that, but they'll have to, in their engineer's letter, that they built in
Mhm.
substantial compliance.
Yeah.
And this was the minor deviation, yeah.
Because otherwise, I'm just not sure what mechanism we would have to like formalize.
I don't mean formal, like WPA formalize, I mean formalize, like in writing, the commission has reviewed this. Cause it's a town project, so I'm nervous about. I always like to be a little harder on town projects because they should be setting the example.
Even though they have the right to do a lot of things now that
Right.
they didn't have before the bylaws were pulled back from the
Yeah.
town projects.
Yeah, I've just seen a lot of towns where like town boards give a lot of deference to town, like DPWs or highways or whatever, and that I think it should be the opposite. You really should be holding themselves to the higher standard.
It's good that DPW continues to come to us when they don't.
Yeah,
absolutely
agreed.
have to,
Agreed.
because of.
Oh, they do.
No, they don't, because the town projects,
Well,
By
we
town
still-
meeting.
We still issue.
no,
I
but
know-
town meeting said that basically, town voted, said the town
Their
projects.
town bylaws don't apply, Wetlands Protection Act still applies.
Oh, no, WPA, I'm not saying WPA, I'm talking about the local bylaws. Okay, anyway, so, Andrew, in, the effort to document this in some way, the minor change that we're talking about, rather than going through a whole new reapplication or whatever process. Can you make sure that in whatever format, a engineering letter or some sort of document would be generated near the end of the project, that it reflects the fact that there was a minor change made this date and time, whatever, agreed upon by the Conservation Commission, just for the record that, you know, the silt fence line was modified to make sure they properly protected the proper site, something like that. I think maybe that captures.
Silt fence out there. We said silt fence was the erosion control when we permitted this.
I'm not sure. I believe so. I believe that's what it was. Well, I think that's what just was proposed on the plans.
Does that-
Said yes.
Does that sort of capture what people are hoping to see?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Andrew's nodding says, so, okay, so we made a note that
Yep.
it should be somewhere down the road in reflected form. And that we aren't looking to, we're viewing this as a minor change, I think. Anybody else? Don, you good with that?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Well, it's
Yeah.
well, it's not a hearing, so we can't write that off. I think we're all,
We're voting on an active project to make a minor change, right? So that would be another part of that record.
but it's
They
not an
agreed.
actual, what I'm saying is this is other business, it's not an actual hearing.
Well, that hearing's been closed.
So our meeting minutes,
So what?
meeting minutes are other business, but we still vote on those. What do you think?
Other, yeah, that's.
Kenna,
I
you look
think
like you wanna
that's-
say something.
Yes,
No.
Minutes we want to approve because we have to approve that it's in the correct record of what we said.
yeah, I don't,
Is this not a correct record?
No,
of
it's
the
gonna go on
sediment?
it's gonna go on the minutes that we're going to approve though, which will then be a corrected record.
But how will it be, if we're not doing anything with it, why would that be on there?
You mean our discussion items are on our minutes?
Is she gonna know to say they all approved it if we didn't all vote on it?
I
don't-
can make that note.
I don't think that we can vote on something that isn't on the
I
hearing.
don't know if we can
I
approve.
mean, we can
something
vote on
without
whatever
voting.
we want.
We've done-
Yeah, I think you could vote
It's
if
just
you
a straw
wanted.
vote.
It's just.
Vote it though.
Yeah, really vote on everything.
Right, we struck poll voted a minute ago for the tree removal.
We can vote on.
You can view it that way if you wanted to, but I don't think that I'm comfortable with saying we're gonna have a vote to approve a minor change on something that's not an actual hearing item. It's just a discussion point that we've had, because
The
somebody
other thing
doesn't.
would be an enforcement order.
Well, what I'm just saying is, you might want to say instead, I think we should put this on the agenda for the next meeting to approve it as, you know, minor
Yeah,
change.
you can-
And because it's, I don't feel comfortable, you know, maybe better than me, but open meeting law, I don't know what you can take out of other business and suddenly vote on it and make it as if it was a hearing item. I know that I've seen cautions from town council and or town former passed away administrator that, not administrator, but employee that, about open meeting laws, that you have to be very careful about what you vote on and how it is, properly recorded and so forth. And having hearing items open, I mean, obviously the applicants here, representatives here, that's not an issue, like some. But this is under other business and just as a discussion point, it's not been advertised, nobody.
It was advertised when the agenda was posted.
So that was posted to like town clerk's office. It's not, we don't advertise in a newspaper for the agenda. We have specific, every hearing, when it's a new hearing, it gets advertised.
I don't know,
This isn't,
I don't know if in order to make this official, but I'm not saying don't vote
I'm
on it.
saying it was like posted in a correct timeframe.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any negative of us voting. I
Yeah.
just don't think it's necessary, but I don't think there's anything
I think it
negative
makes
that.
it very clear for the people writing the minutes. that-
I think it makes it complicated for somebody looking at this saying, why didn't you vote on something that was a discussion point that you didn't actually have as a hearing? Potentially somebody.
Well, I mean,
Nobody probably
we're
will, but
ultimately a body built of multiple people. It's inherent that we're gonna have disagreements and vote on something.
oh yeah, no, I'm just saying, I'm wondering whether the proper procedure, according to
What do
whoever,
you think, Hannah, please?
would be that.
I don't think, I don't
can
think.
note. She wants to make
I can make a note, or you can vote. I don't really have.
But
I-
if you
I-
were going to vote, I think that you have to bring it into the open meeting portion as a hearing.
I'm also not like
No, 'cause we
an
vote-
expert on open meeting law. I think you could vote on it, and I don't think it would be
We vote on
necessarily a
admin-
problem. It just would.
Administrative, admittedly, this is not administrative necessarily. It's an applicant's representative talking to us. It's different than somebody just saying.
We're making the,
You know,
we're
the
making
minutes.
the administrative judgment that it's a minor project change and does not require an amended order.
Right.
That's a weird administrative.
But now you want to vote on doing that and
Yeah.
without that having been a,
Well, because let's say we open it to a vote and the majority of people say no, that means we are then now requiring them to file an amended order. That vote is just us all agreeing what we think is the correct strategy.
I said, I don't know. I'm not saying that I'm right. I'm saying
What if
that.
I disagree with you?
You have that right. You're wrong, but you have that right.
Mike, I think that would be fine.
That's all right. So somebody want to make a motion?
Oh, like, it's just straw?
We'll just vote on it and then.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't
done
think,
with
we-
it
I
and
don't think
stop
we need to make a
dragging it
motion
out.
either. I think it's just, we just have a straw vote on what we believe is appropriate.
Let's all vote by
If
roll
any-
call on whether we approve these minor modifications to this already approved. Board of Sub-intent.
All in favor?
Alright,
I'm gonna say, yeah.
Ariana, aye. Dawn?
James?
Aye.
All right.
Right, so we're all on the same page.
So Andrew, it looks like it's a minor modification and it'd still be nice to make a note for the record down the road, but I'll leave that to you and Hannah. to
Be in the
figure out
minutes
what-
too now.
It'll also be in the minutes, so
And it'll
just
be in
something.
the engineers.
And the engineer's letter,
Um,
which is what my
so
request
then-
is.
Compliant with the permit.
Meeting.
When they
Okay.
come in for their COC, which will be advertised.
And if you want to put some smiley faces with Santa hats on the black boring barrier sometimes for the next couple months, that's fine too, but that's up to you. Go live.
Okay.
Legal ad.
Anything else for you, Andrew? You good?
No, all set from my side. I
All right,
appreciate
thank you
everybody's
for hanging in
time.
there tonight. Thank you.
Sorry about that.
Of course.
Thanks, Andrew.
Have a good night. Thank you.
Yeah, have a good
Happy
one, everyone.
holidays.
Thank you. Happy
Thank you.
holidays.
Just your best.
Merry Christmas.
Great. So we do still have a couple other things left over on other business.
Go for it.
Get it done, it's only 9 o'clock.
Jenks Pond, Silver Lake Aquatic Vegetation Management information.
Mhm.
So this is something that kind of got brought up a while ago and we were like, oh, okay, we'll have, people kind of look into it, but things have gotten a little hectic and hasn't really come back. Now we're in budgeting season, have to have the budget in by the 17th. I guess it
Do we know how
doesn't
much it could cost?
necessarily need to happen for this year or the next year. You could just put this off till whenever. It's just,
Was it,
it's a timely potential
was it
discussion.
managed last year?
Yep, so currently for Jenks and Silver Lake, we do a lot more management at. We just got the money from town meeting to do the sonar treatment, which they typically recommend every 2 to 5 years. Doing like a large section of they've Silver Lake, which they do on occasion. And it was pretty bad last year, I think partially because the timing of the application of the dicot that was in there, timing wise wasn't great. Yeah, so that's what's done most years, and then we do sonar every 2 to 5 years. So that didn't have great effects last summer, so looking to do a larger treatment
Are we getting
with
a
sonar
different
this year.
applicant firm?
Nope, so this is,
chemical?
The sonar is physical, right?
I'm talking about dicot.
Yeah, well,
so
they're not,
if you, I can send over the existing permit for the 2 lakes. Because what we have right now allows for the dicot sonar. It's like a copper sulfate for a couple things. There's like a couple add-on, or an algicide, a couple add-ons that you can do. And that was based on the 2006 permit. It got renewed multiple times and then was extended because of the COVID-19 extension. And then the other mass permit extension. So 2027 is the last year that we will have an active permit for that, and it definitely could use an update. I mean, we've been using the same permit since 2006, so we need a new permit for 2027. So what has kind of come up is, so Silver Lake, we just do larger scale treatment, typically dicot sonar, and then they've also done some algicide treatments, Phragmites treatments over there over the years. Jenks Reservoir, we've only done treatment at the beach, really. They haven't done any larger scale treatment. The permit from 2006 authorized clearing for the beach and then spot treatment potentially for, people's docks. They were allowed to do like a little bit there, or if there were like a couple giant blooms of something that they wanted to spot treat, they could do that and then leave the rest of it just for wildlife habitat. And so what had come up was there are some residents on Jenks Reservoir going into this new permitting season. They knew they were gonna need, that the town was gonna need a new permit. And they have reached out to the Conservation Commission before, and I think had dealt with Anne about potentially expanding treatment at Jenks Reservoir. And I had put in a memo, the information that they had provided, because they had talked to the treatment company that are our vendor that does treatment at Jenks, and then also, the couple homeowners, which is 96 Lake Street, and I think one other one.
So the
or
homeowners
maybe-
want, and the way the permit's structured now,
Yes,
the homeowners are under our permit.
yes,
So they
correct.
want us to extend their ability to treat
So,
under our new permit in 2027.
so they were hoping that, so they had multiple, inquiries. They were like, okay, we know you are having, like, they were thinking about putting an NOI in themselves to do larger scale treatment of the lake, but they reached out because they knew that we were gonna need a new permit in 2027 anyways, and they didn't wanna, go through that effort if that was something that the town was thinking about including in the new permit, since we were having a new permit anyways. Now, I let them know that, even if they were to pursue this on their own, they would need Concom to sign off for the largest treatment as the property owner,
Right.
even if they were to, take on the cost and do it themselves, which they did say that they were thinking about doing. And I said, okay, the first option is you need to see if they're willing to even expand treatment at Jenks. So that's kind of the crux of it. And then also, do we think that that's something that you'd like to see on Jenks? Would you want that included in the next permit? And would you see a benefit from the town pursuing that? So those were kind of the three main questions on Jenks. Silver Lake is kind of just
think
in the same boat.
this is that one chemical that I had done a ton of reading about, right?
But Procelicor.
Yeah,
Yes.
Priscilla, and I can go back into this and kind of formalize my thoughts if people are interested, because I definitely can't recall any of the things I looked into, studies on top of my head. But the conclusion that I came to is basically that safety wise, I wasn't overwhelmingly concerned. Although that's something, if we want to be sure about, I'd want to look back into that again. But it did seem like the places where it was being used successfully to like completely eradicate a pond, they were not just doing a single treatment and spot treatment. They were having people go in, dive, and like pull things up by the roots. And in that memo, they also said they don't know if there's little bits of that plant coming from upstream, and like the language is really couching like how well this chemical is going to do, like likely, probably, and for a price tag like $16,000, I wouldn't feel like the town should try to do this eradication. That doesn't seem like we have any. They have a 3-year guarantee, which is kind of nothing. It doesn't seem like there is a big guarantee that this will eradicate it.
Yeah, and that was the question I had most recently asked was, they originally when we were talking about it, they were like, oh yeah, it would be pretty similar to what you are paying currently for treatment at Jenks. And then we did get the updated quote for that for 2027, 2028, 2029, because they said they could split it into 3 payments. And it was significantly more by like multiple thousands of dollars.
For the 3-year.
Yes, so then I did ask, okay, like, would there be an overall, like, because right now at Silver Lake, we do significant treatment fairly regularly, so it is kind of a large cost, and it's done continuously, but it's a very well-used resource in town, the public beach, like, there's a lot of recreational benefit over there, not just in the beach area, people use that a lot, it seems, from.
Is
from
it
what I've
just
heard.
the beach area that we treat, or is it beach?
Not at Silver Lake, no. Yeah, Silver Lake is, sometimes it's just the beach, sometimes it's a larger scale treatment. It kind of
Do you have
shifts.
like the maps that show the areas that are treated?
So I could show you some. They have shown them in the past. Because we've
treated
worked for the
as-
same company, with the same company for the last 4 or 5 years. I don't think we have like yearly, oh, this is what they did this year, this is what they did last year. But so it's kind of shifted depending on what they see out there.
Yeah, it's
And then what
as
they recommend.
needed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
essentially.
It's not like they propose where they're treating, unless it's the recreation area, then obviously they're treating that yearly,
Yeah,
but the other areas are, I'm assuming, spot treated.
yeah, it's more of like okay, we're seeing a large bloom here, we're gonna go do this whole thing and Silver Lake this year. That's why it was such a large scale quote cost, was because the treatment last year wasn't great, the treatment before that was, decent, but there's just been a lot of regrowth and last year was pretty bad. So they recommended a much larger area. Not that.
Well, last year was bad in both.
Oh, sorry.
I was going to say last year was bad in both areas.
Yeah, yep, exactly. So
Climate change. So what are you looking for tonight? Are you looking for something that you can take to the 17th meeting for the budget?
I mean, I don't have to.
Because you don't have,
Um,
I mean, I've heard 3 years is gonna be multiple thousands of dollars more for Silver Lake alone, or is that Jenks that you're?
For Jenks.
For Jenks.
Silver Lake just kind of updates based on what.
But they're recommending a larger hit at Silver Lake this year because of the bad effect, I mean, last year's.
Yes,
they wanna
it's
expand
just
sonar.
been multiple years since the
Right.
last round of treatment for sonar.
So, and sonar is the physical. Is it sonar physical removal?
A systemic herbicide.
Oh, just a separate.
Yeah.
I thought there was a physical method that sonar reminded me of it. That there was-
Thinking of like a sonar, like.
No, yeah, sorry. But no, I thought there was a methodology that they used at one point in time in combination with the chemical. But are they only using chemical?
Yeah, I believe it's just chemical. If you look at the 2006 permits, they didn't recommend any physical, mechanical.
Right.
Manual
we
removal,
get, like-
especially with the veg, not the algal stuff, but the veg stuff usually makes the problem worse, because that's.
Right.
Yeah, well, I know floats and stuff like that. I'm looking into that, but, okay, so do we have numbers that you need to have us sign up for? So 3 years for Jenks is gonna cost multiple thousands more if we go with this expanded program, they could pay over 3 years, but what is that amount compared to what is in the budget or, what we're gonna recommend to ask the town to pay for?
Yeah, so that's basically, that was my question. I was like, do you think that would, is that something you think you would like to pursue? And do you think it would be worth the increased cost? It's about 1,800 a year at Jenks Reservoir currently to treat the beach area with the dicot.
Just the beach, okay.
Yeah, and that's really the only one we've used at Jenks Reservoir. We've used sonar and the dicot and, a bunch of other stuff at Silver
I
Lake.
think ultimately we make them severable. right? Because we're asking for both Silver Lake and Jenks Reservoir.
Yeah, so they are definitely two separate
Okay.
budget items, and the Silver Lake one has definitely just shifted as years have gone, but
Yeah.
I guess the main question is going into getting the next permit. Would you want to expand the use to potentially have a larger treatment area and to extend the type of treatment available, which would be the
I think I'd need some sort of memo on what the pros and cons of not doing so would be. Like, I don't.
Yeah, I mean, I can have
Including
the,
permitting costs, cause I'm thinking there's a significant increase in permitting. It's not.
permitting for what?
State permitting.
Like for like the treatment
Or
or,
treating other people's waterfront property.
so the permit itself that they get every year, it's per water body. So that doesn't adding a couple people onto that doesn't change it. It's just strictly for treatment of each water body.
From the
So,
state.
and they have to get
State
one
permit.
every year to do the chemical application. So those are the two permits, and when they quote us for those permits, they include it, and I think
They-
it's like $280 or
That-
something.
That vendor ultimately will want as much work as they can get. So if they can provide us reasoning for an expanded treatment, I think they would be willing to do that because they probably want an expanded treatment.
Yeah, and I think I kind of provided a little bit of that in one of the memos. The reasoning would be additional recreation, which at Jenks, it is fairly limited. That could definitely potentially increase recreational benefit there, but we don't have like currently a large scale plan to
I'm gonna say,
significantly like revitalize.
Great beach now that's been created by a bunch of trees being chopped down on the edge of it. By
is there
some
really a
property owner who is
need
under 96 Lake Street, maybe?
That they want more recreation space.
Right.
Well, the other thing was, it was specifically not done, I believe, in the past 2006 area, because the rest of the areas can be kept for wildlife habitat.
Yes.
So if the impact is to clear the area vegetation wise, aside from the direct impact that chemicals might have on the wildlife that's there in the pond, right, and Jenks Reservoir right now, it's the longer term effect of less vegetation that is providing habitat of some sort to various wildlife of some sort in a less active residents and more wildlife animals mode that the reservoir is acting in right now. Do we want to see that changed? I mean, do
Yeah,
we
so-
really?
Can I add something? Can I say
I don't know
something?
if you can, but you may.
I've seen that eutrophication completely change water areas in Rhode Island, for example, where a pond that was used for swimming, they wanted to let it stop using the herbicide. And within about 5 years, 5 to 7 years, it completely evolved and is no longer a body of water. It's just a marsh. So I would, caution us to think about what's the general purpose of Jenks specifically, because I've seen that lake completely clogged with algae and plant growth in the past. It dies down usually in the winter, but I'm concerned about, and I always have been, so I don't know. It's just through personal observation. I was always concerned about what's this eutrophication doing to the body of water itself. Is it has to be killing fish when the algae blooms the way that it does in the plant matter. So I think we almost kind of need, I hate to say it, but sort of a comprehensive study.
Town. There's no,
Silver Lake is it?
or Silver Lake or Jenks is just a general question, because I'm ignorant on it. Used for water supply for anywhere in the town?
I don't believe
Silver Lake-
either.
Because reservoir, you think usually is, that's the term for reservoirs, to hold water for usually human consumption,
Silver Lake is in a zone 2.
which means what?
It's in like the water resource protection district.
Protection district, but is it used by the town? Because
It's
in-
an
it's near
indirect
a wellhead.
contributor to our drinking water. supply.
not direct, it's
So
not
yes,
directed.
you need a permit, a water resources permit to inject chemicals into that water.
Yeah, I'm less concerned about the permit, is more about the environmental impact. of
There's a
people
reason you
drinking.
need the permit.
I understand that. Okay, so Jenks Reservoir,
My,
Mhm.
is it used as a water supply for anywhere in the town?
a reservoir, I would think was created for that purpose, whether it's still, or maybe.
Maybe not, it's not surface water that we're treating.
No, it's in the zone 2 as well.
Yeah, so it's
What
the,
is?
it's the groundwater well.
Okay, I didn't realize that was also.
It goes into zone 2.
So my question, well, Don, I hear your point about eutrophication is also, if this is potentially, Jenks, and I'll speak for.
Which is, why are we using dicot?
If Jenks is an area that potentially is still being used by townspeople, whether they know it or not, for a drinking supply, not going down into the ground and then into a well and the ground doing the chemical purification and so forth, but in more direct form, then putting anything into a reservoir that has chemicals, and I'd be first concerned about less the animals. And
So
more-
you're saying it's being used as a
I'm
well?
not saying it
or-
is, I'm asking, I don't know.
Well,
It's a reservoir, and it's the only reservoir, in town, correct?
I would just say there aren't really any like drinking water safety issue, like for the labeled products. Like
Well, it has
after
an
it's,
MCL. Dicot has an MCL.
I don't know what.
Maximum contaminant level in drinking water.
Okay.
I think O2 quite familiar.
It may be a moot point if it's not used as drinking water for some,
It
for
is
anyone
used as drinking water.
in the town. Jenks is.
The zone 2,
No, I mean, is it pumped into somebody's water line right now? Or is it used to be?
probably.
Well,
it's filling an
Probably isn't
aquifer,
an answer. I
probably.
need to
But-
know for sure.
but we don't have an
Aside
answer to
from
that.
dicot. Okay, just a concern and consideration I have.
It's,
So,
it's in the pump of, it's in the well pre-treatment.
The wells
It
that
goes
we
to,
have
it
that
goes to a treatment
public drinking
facility.
water, the ones that
So is Silver Lake.
Yeah,
get their water from that zone 2, which gets.
right, I want to also make sure there's not direct pump because reservoirs usually have a little more direct.
Well, are we
line.
concerned about one person or the whole town?
the Charles River is in our zone 2 for those wells that are up on High Street. The Charles River is way more disgusting
Yeah.
than Silver
But,
Lake.
but we're not pumping into the Charles River dicot or something else,
Oh.
where we're paying.
State's putting.
No, I'm talking about the town treating. Right. All right, town
I'm
treating yours.
I'm just
2000
commenting to like, I know in the past, there was a lot of input from the Bellingham Board of Health concerns for safety for that. But the like state attorney general stepped in and said they don't have any jurisdiction there. If you're doing it in accordance with the regulations and you're getting the permit from DEP, it's considered safe. So I'm just saying, I would hate to
Make them
bring
drink a
up.
glass of water from someone.
Just saying, use a different one.
I think
I'm
in
just saying, I
general-
would hate to bring up like saying, oh, that's a safety concern if it's.
I'm not bringing it up, I'm just
It's not a
questioning whether.
safety concern now, it's the accumulation of it over time.
Nobody has the data to make it.
So,
I mean,
quick question for you, dollars wise, it's $1,800 now per year to treat the beach with dicot at Jenks Pond, correct?
Yes.
How much would the 2026 to 2029 3-year payment plan that they're proposing bump it up for the expanded treatment of a bigger dicot program and or other?
Oh, I thought the 1,800 a year was what was proposed.
No, that's
No,
current.
that's
No,
current.
it's like
That's what
5,000.
current
That's what I want to know.
is.
So
Whoa.
if we're asking Hannah to
Which I have
support
in
something for the town budget by the 17th, which means by this meeting, we need to know, I was curious as to how much she said in the magnitude of thousands per year or more.
And they're not directly comparable either. So I think essentially these residents got excited about this one specific chemical application. But what the representative was saying too is like, it's not as effective for lilies. So it's not even the same thing.
Yeah.
I
Lily's a problem.
there's a lot of lily overgrowth.
So there, that 5,000 whatever quote,
So I actually, with the DEP permit also added to
Yeah.
that, it's $6,045 per year.
Per year.
For 3 years.
okay,
So
so
it's
significant.
definitely a significant.
And they're applying it each year, it's not just we're paying for 3 years.
No, you pay for it, they apply it.
So they apply it the first year and then, no, yeah.
And you pay it for 3
And
years.
then, so they split it into 3 payments to make it more manageable, and for those 3 years, they're also doing spot treatments because they're guaranteeing that it will be effective for.
And does that 6,000 whatever cover the expanded scope? Or is
Yes.
that
Yes.
keeping it the same?
Yeah, that'd be
What's the
expanded.
price difference of keeping the treatment the same?
It's probably about, it stayed very, I don't have like an exact quote for the next.
Because most of
but
it's probably
stayed
not,
very similar.
yeah, most of it's probably
You know,
not product
1,800.
use, it's more mobilization.
Yeah.
All right.
So probably a couple grand, maybe going up $100 or $200 for the next couple of years if you just keep it as it is at the beach. So You're looking for some direction from us or sign off for us, whether we want to expand or not at Jenks.
That's
What's
really the
feeling of
main,
commission?
you know, and I originally, oh, sorry.
If they've provided that information to us that says this is why we are proposing it's appropriate for the town to expand its treatment, and there's good reasoning behind it, I have no problem with it. I just don't believe I've seen reasoning for it
The
yet.
reason is our product is really good, we promise. You could read
You
the
talking
memo,
about the
that
seller
is
or
the
the
reason.
local residents?
No, the vendor that is.
Or the vendor?
That
vendor
is
is the
the
one that-
reasoning of the vendor, is that this is really
It's
good.
essentially, yes, that it will work really well, that it will, they think it will potentially eradicate it, but maybe not.
Possibly, but maybe not.
Right, it's definitely not guaranteed, which is why I asked, like, how long do we think this will
We have
impact?
at
And it
least
really
one
just
project
depends
left.
on a lot of factors.
Yeah.
Awful.
And also that, you know, to eradicate, essentially, mostly to have that eradication of milfoil throughout the pond and reduce the amount of aquatic vegetation in the pond in general, because right now it's pretty just thick throughout the pond.
Right.
But it's, you know.
Anna, did they give you any examples of success in other towns that they've done this in?
No. Mm-mm.
And
That's definitely something I could ask for. That would be.
Yeah, I would
very
just like to see some
helpful.
representative examples.
Because, well, I mean, the permit for 2027, you know, we need to make sure we get that in by the end of next year. So this will definitely come up multiple times. This was just for this year, do we think that for 2027 we'll want to use Priscilla that year? It doesn't necessarily
Like
mean
disturbing it.
that
So do
we
we
don't
wanna
have
spend
to
that-
do that in the future, but it's just for
But are we
for the
committing to,
fiscal year.
are we committing to the 6,045 for Jenks as opposed to
Right now.
1,800? And can we only do that for 1 year and then say to them, well, we want to do year 2 and 3?
well, then there goes your guarantee of the great.
Well, that's what I'm asking, because if we decide there's something to, because you're saying you don't have to, it's gonna come
For
up.
contract.
Right.
And Don, just point of fact, I wouldn't be against making the Jenks clear and have less of this plant. It's just that I think based on the things that I've looked into, this one specific chemical is way over promising. And if the town says no to this, these residents are gonna come in front of us and ask to be allowed to use this specific chemical, so it's worth looking into either
Have we
way.
gotten competing quotes?
I think
for
it's
this
proprietary, so.
No.
No.
Well, it's what's the alternatives?
This is the vendor
No,
for it.
that could be, or did no other vendors
I'm-
use this one, or?
Is this, I thought this was coming straight from this
No,
is
so
our
this is,
thing.
no, so
sort of
this is
guys.
from just the Lake and Pond Connection,
Oh,
so
okay,
that's,
then I
yes,
don't know.
that's who we've used for the past 4 years to
Right.
manage the treatment. I will definitely be looking into, you know, in the coming years, potentially changing options, just,
the
well, not
town-
even changing options, but to get additional.
The town should be doing, especially because it's for a few years, should be bidding this. We should
Yeah.
not be just going to some vendor reviews for
And they
it.
would want us to do that on their behalf, I'm sure.
Well, or
Different
at least provide commentary.
Which is not unreasonable for us to be asked to help provide input or look into this and so forth. So the
It's
question
an
for,
Open space committee thing, but maybe we could also look into the costs and benefits for other alternatives like dredging and other types of.
another
No
porta
dredging.
potties in
But
town.
I think it might just be very helpful for the commission to like hold on to this.
Yeah, I think,
Just 'cause
well, the other
it's-
thing is, it will help other
It's
bodies of water, even though they're privately owned, like Holly Carwalka, we could make recommendations even.
We could beat a dead horse.
Well, here's the thing, for tonight, just because it's now 9:30. What Hannah, I think, is looking for is to get whether the commission wants to ask her to ask the town to fund for 2026.
For
Which-
2027,
Through, oh, sorry, 2027.
fiscal year 2027.
No, right, yes, thank you, fiscal year, thank you. But for the next 3 fiscal years, in fact, because you're paying for it as a 3-year plan. An expanded program for 6,000 as opposed to 1,800 per year. So pay another $12,000 basically,
I don't think,
for this expanded program in Jenks or not. So if we don't wanna do it, then we say, just keep it with 1,800, tell them no, and she doesn't have, that's
no,
all you need for
I don't
tonight.
think it's keeping with the 1800.
What?
If we don't use the 1800 is what we're paying currently.
Yeah.
The cost ultimately will go up in 2027, I assume, because costs are going up.
Yeah, but the last couple years have been pretty similar to that.
Right.
So definitely, it won't go up by like multiple thousands.
So do you want to go up to 6,000 a year for 3 years? If the answer is no, then I think Hannah has what she needs for direction for
Well,
tonight.
I also think, like, is it out of the possibility to have those people come to,
Between now and the
Meeting?
17th, she has to have budget numbers by the 17th, I'm hearing.
well, like,
But
go
that's
to
just
that
twenty
meeting?
twenty-seven, so we can also say, we don't have enough time to like. Put this together and have that in for 2027.
do a
We could always do it in 2028. Yeah, or just, I'm also saying, you know, if we're not thinking we're on board for 2027 and maybe it'll get pushed off to 2028, we look more into it over the next, you know, 4, 5, or 6 months. And when we go to get the new permit for Jenks and Silver Lake, if you have thought about it and you're like, yes, we would like to use Purcell at the lake and we would like to expand the area of treatment to the whole lake
And
rather
we'd
than the
like to
beach.
expand our potential vendors to do so and save the town money by doing a competitive bid to get that work done. for-
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so either way, it doesn't have to be their bid, but I guess, yeah, the main question is first, like, is that even something you would want to pursue so that when we go to get the new permits by the end of 2020, well, not the end, but you know, September, November of 2026, which because we need to have those updated permits in hand so that for the summer season,
I mean, I feel like that gives,
we'll have a valid order of conditions.
I feel like
So
that
it gives
gives us
us months.
plenty of time.
Yeah.
to-
Budgetarily, does that give you time to do what you need to? Because we're not gonna go back in September and say to the town, or maybe you are suggesting, hey, we want to expand the program at Jenks. And we're gonna do a 3-year program, we looked into, we wanted this is gonna cost an extra $12,000 overall, but 6,000 a year. We wanna start doing that this coming year, which would be fiscal year 2028, I think, if I got my age right. And so that we would then start that 3-year program a year down the road. But in the meantime, this year, we would potentially just hold it at 1,800
Yes, and
Okay.
just stick with the program
and stick with the program.
for the 2027.
So I think we all wanna look into it more internally with the.
Oh, we're not cutting off treatment for 1 year. We're just gonna keep status quo and
Yeah.
then, oh.
Or we could have bumped it up and expended it all, but I don't think we have enough
So,
information to
like,
want to do that.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's honestly, I mean, I wish we'd had more time earlier this year to get into this, but it was just lower priority.
Yeah, we've had
And
some,
our permit's not, we don't have
Most of
to
the
get
weeds
a
are little
permit,
pads or
a new
whatever.
permit, or even potentially expanding it till the end of this year before our current permit expires.
right.
So it kind of went to the back burner, and then during budgeting season, we've just been talking about it a lot. I've been talking, you know, but Dennis Frayne was very involved previously in a lot of this stuff, and so the new town administrator and I have been talking about some of this stuff, so it's just been coming up a lot, and I was like, got a meeting coming up, might as well bring it up. I don't know if people have looked into it more, but which Pam, you know.
I almost like the
has,
idea
but-
better that we're keeping status quo, because I was honestly fine with us suspending for a year and then coming up with a decision. But if we're gonna just continue this,
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
then I think we're
Like, it's
fine.
pretty From her letter, it's like,
Okay.
what if we could spend more? But like, do you think it's spend more and we promise nothing?
Because this will give us the year to see how the current treatment
Right,
works.
okay.
Because I haven't myself, I know Don said he's seen it, I haven't myself seen it, so. Seeing how it currently works will give me a better idea of like,
Yes,
oh,
yeah.
it might actually be worth expanding.
And the increase in sunshine on Jenks from
Take
the
some
lack of
looks this
trees that are
coming
around the
season
town.
at what's going.
Right.
Maybe a bit more
Okay.
information on that. And I can have the current vendor, the Lake and Pond Connection, come in to talk about it, because I obviously am not like, I mean, I have the information he's given me. I've done look into all of our old permits and that sort of stuff, but if I need more information, we can have him.
Hannah,
have
the three
resident.
questions I have for a vendor
Yeah.
is, what's the safest? What's the most cost effective? And then what is the most effective? And they should be able to provide you at least with 2 or 3 options, because things evolve every year. My first thought is, what is Walden Pond using? Walden Pond's a reservoir by definition, but I don't think they draw drinking water from it. I know it's highly regulated. So there's probably other options. I don't know, that may be the very best, but we're coming from a position of sort of lack of expertise in that area.
Yeah, I can, and I liked your point about, looking for examples of where there was success.
Yeah.
for any of this stuff, so that would.
There is one for this, if you wanna look into it, but it was coupled with people, doing it by hand, yeah, like a lot of it. But
That,
we
well,
went in
that's
there and
labor
looked
intensive, so
things up.
that's expensive.
I think, I mean, it was volunteers, so they.
Perfect.
And it destroys
I know
the
that.
fish. It can destroy the fish population by mechanical means. Depends on the species of fish. They all lay eggs in different ways. So just bear that in mind. That's why dredging doesn't work.
Pros and cons.
I can't believe
Okay.
this, but if we have
All right.
options, then I feel like sending me and Arian to do more research.
Yeah, we'll come up with a nice thesis.
There you go. Okay,
Chemicals.
so we have
Chemicals.
some thought that perhaps after the first of the year, we'll form a little subcommittee and look into the aquatic treatment plans around the town for the water supplies.
Excellent.
Good for tonight for this particular item. Do you want to move on or do you want some more time?
Yep, that
Okay.
was, that
Well,
was.
You want to spend more time? Because I'm happy to spend all night on it. That's one issue if you want. Yeah. Okay, so next one, what is it, 30 Stone? Or what are the-
380 Lake Street, we didn't talk about.
Yeah, so that one, I mean, we could also just move it to the next meeting.
No,
Feels really hard.
380 Lake
That
is
one's
the,
Okay, we can-
what is 380 Lake again?
That's the one, they got a delineation done, but you guys have to figure out what you want them
That's
to
the
do.
pull one, potential pull, all right, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's the one.
Which I told her it might get pushed.
Do we
so.
have the delineation stuff?
There's no, they delineated it, but they didn't
By who?
land planning, but there's no plan, there's no information on how it was delineated, they just put up flags. So that's why I needed to talk, that,
They need to
yeah,
do the
that's
rest
why
of
I
that
think they're,
then.
well, that's the thing, we didn't ask for that.
If
Yeah, we
I-
did, we asked for a plan.
No, we
No.
decided for delineation, and then if Hannah was happy with the delineation and there was no impact to the wetland, that was kind of end of it. We just wanted to confirm if they had a violation or not.
Well, it's still like doing work in the 25 foot, so we didn't know if there was gonna be like an after the fact application, or if they're just like, yep, whatever. So that was kind of didn't know how we were gonna handle that, because I didn't fully agree with the delineation at the end, but that wasn't really near the impact. The delineation near the impact with the gravel, it was basically just that edge of slope, and that's about where I had it as well, so I don't think a bunch of gravel entered the wetland, it's just that whole
At the edge.
25.
I think you should ask them to fix the delineation on the other side.
But there's,
There's
I
no
mean,
activity.
if there's no activity, if there's no plan where that's recorded, if there's no application, it's just a flag. Like, we don't have any record of that, and I told them while I was out there, I was like, that, I don't believe that
Surely
flag
they
is
have a
correct.
plan, cause that would be like a dirty trick, planning to do that.
Well, we didn't ask for a plan, so
But
originally they
they
were.
already would know.
Well, no, they were also trying to reduce their upfront costs, so I think we had said the only thing we need to confirm if you have a current violation or not, or we need to pull stuff out of a wetland, is the edge of wetland line, and then we were gonna go from there on what the alternatives are, and like I think the two options are, which we've done in the past, is they either remove it, and I don't think we need to issue enforcement for that, because it's just them rectifying a violation.
Well, I think it would need to be enforcement, because they'd have to pull stuff out and like replant.
Yeah.
That's the gravel, right?
I thought
The
it was
gravel,
I
yeah.
thought it was yard,
Yeah.
just turned into gravel.
No, it was kind of disturbed area, but it was vegetated.
Okay.
So that was.
I mean,
the
all,
issue.
I mean, there are, yeah, so let's say it was just lawn and they just put gravel on top of it. I think without enforcement, we can authorize them to remove the violation, and then at that point, it's been returned to previously existing conditions, but what I think they're gonna want is to keep it. So if they wanna keep it, then they'll ultimately need to submit a filing.
Okay. So, RDA, NOI. Do we want
I
them to
mean-
have a plan now? That was
Yeah.
kind of the,
I think we're moving in the direction of an NOI with the plan, don't you?
I think I know.
I'm not sure an RDA would do the trick if we're
Yeah.
not sure that.
We already know if you're positive, certainly. It's within 50 feet of you, so I'm saying.
We'd have to authorize a waiver of the. Yeah, so,
Get that plan and then fix the other.
see, aren't you glad we talked about it? Now you have something to say to them.
You built some holiday work. Sounds like he's slacking.
Sounds
All right.
Tell them also if they have decided yet, they're free to include the pool with that,
Oh, yeah.
but
I think they're like not even trying to do the pool. I'll let them know. And
Yeah.
they could even include that and then not
Certainly
do
the
it.
patio, which
So if they
they-
wanna just.
Then
do
it's
that,
just
I'll
at
do
least
there.
permitted,
And
yeah.
then they can, it'll be available for the next.
yeah,
30 years.
and then they only have to
So,
pay for one NOI.
right, and attend all the hearings and everything, so, yeah, I'll let them know.
Don, when you move your head, sometimes Zoom is deciding that your hair is part of the background. I don't know if anyone's noticed that. but
Is it?
It's
I-
really,
it's
really
it's
funny
like
to me.
Is that a wig?
I'm blending in.
Okay. Very observant, Pam. I like that.
Just a floating head.
Oh,
No hair.
All right, what's next?
30 Stone Street.
3 Stone Street. I went out there. From the photos they sent, I thought it was gonna be fine. There's not 75% coverage of lawn. It was taken from an angle that it looked like there was grass, but once you go over it, very much not enough grass, which I was surprised that grass had grown in that.
Was this a septic thing?
Yeah, this is the new, these are the new owners, so I think they weren't really familiar with the process anyways, and I was.
They probably they were like, oh, I gotta get this done.
Exactly, so I was like, we can't really take erosion controls out right now, this would be a bad time to do that with the level of
We'll
grass.
see,
you got
we'll see
going
in
right
June.
now. That's what I said, I was like, there's really no other issues you need to worry about, we just need to see more grass growing, so they were totally fine with that.
Okay, good.
But, yeah, so that I
Great.
say, don't sign that, and then we did.
Blackstone enforcement order?
That was just on there again. I'm just permanently putting that on there just in case. Or we'd like to discuss the enforcement and he requests a continuation. So
Has it been vegetated?
no,
Has it been?
It was under what?
What?
In those pictures.
so I sent
No,
updated
slope.
photos. So they did fill it and then they put the erosion controls in
Yeah.
and then the
In
water.
void.
They didn't
Yeah.
seed.
No seeding, no jute netting, which followed up multiple times, said we need to see this. I've not gotten anything back.
Yeah. The netting I'm not super concerned with because it's all leaf litter there. It's more, we need there was like understory bramble stuff there.
Correct, which I showed photos, he had sent photos previously. I will continue to follow up with that.
I think we start being as responsive to Lou as he is to us. That would be right, tick him off.
That will benefit us.
No, probably not. Only because we legally have to respond and so forth, and he doesn't necessarily. He just complains. Okay, so that's Blackstone's enforcement minutes. I only found one very tiny thing, and I wanted to let it go, but it's something that somebody's got on. I will pull it up here one second. I just minutes. Here we go. It
Was that the improper use of a semicolon?
No, I don't get into that. So.
Flow pattern?
Yes. Keep on it too. See, I'm not the only one. So on the minutes for October 22nd, page 2 of 8. Third paragraph under the continued hearing for Blackstone Street. Public was invited to ask questions or provide comments. One resident of Matty Way remarked on the persistence of the vernal pool despite its variable hydrology and the flow patterns of rain along the gravel ROW.
Grease patterns.
Yes, rain does make patterns. However, when they say a little further along, that Mr. Dryden addressed this resident by explaining the proposed flow paths to the proposed catch basins and how it's outside panel. I think that they, the word that they want is patterns, but other than that, that was the, oh, you're right, sorry,
Oh,
thank
yeah,
you.
which
No,
one?
that's all there. Okay, this file might be here. Page 2 of 8, November 12th minutes. Otherwise, I think everything was very good. Thank you again, Caitlin Duquette, for her wonderful minute taking.
I move to accept November 12th minutes as amended and in the October 22nd manual.
We have a motion, second.
Second.
Second, thank you, Ariane. Any other discussion about the minutes? Any other corrections? Any other thing you just found? No? Okay, Don, you spy anything else? No? Good.
Nope.
Okay, don't move your head. Oh, good. Okay. All in favor. Don,
I
Dan,
Aye.
Ariane,
Aye.
James, Mike, okay, so take good minute.
Both sets of minutes, right?
Yes.
Yeah, proposed. She mentioned October afterwards.
The minutes show
That's
that.
what Okay, and anything else? Did we get them all? We went out of order a little
I
bit.
believe that's
That's
it.
good. Okay, so if we don't have anything else, our next meeting is January 14th.
Yep.
You'll be safe and dry and warm and have a happy holiday. That's it. I'll accept a motion to close and adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
Marianne,
Seconded.
Don, Sam,
Hi.
Don,
Aye.
Ariane,
Bye.
James.
No,
Oh, James, okay, so. for another couple hours, don't worry.
He's a glutton for
Happy to-
punishment.
no, Corey, you guys.
My guy,
I was ready to die, but I won't see you die. Come on,
You're gonna
guys.
say no now.
Come on, no. All right, so we have an unanimous vote.
I'm gonna say unanimous. He's just gonna paint.